This episode brought to you by the following patrons: Leaf Girl, Min, Sex Caliber Bones a Lot, Madeline, Alyssa, Vixen, Holly, Natasha, Laura, Jeremy with the laser eyes, Allie, Logan, Libby, Aaron, Kristen, Amy, Tia, Jonathan, and Isaac. And all the patrons want you to know you're loved, you're listened to, and you're a valuable member of this awesome Horror Virgin community. And if you want to hang out with us, do so in the Facebook group where we'll be taking Dreamo-Sil nightly.
Phantasm. Oh, I'm a little loud.
And we're recording about the tall man because he comes in and yells at the boys, and there's lots of silver orbs in the ceiling of the room. Okay, cool.
Yeah, did you mute her?
Yes. The host muted me.
Did you mute people?
I didn't know I could.
I'd like to say that I am Reggie and that we are all Reggie.
Mikey, I will admit that you, yes, are Reggie.
I think I am corpse hearse woman.
Paige, I don't think you look like you've been kicked under a car.
Yet. Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd, which means I don't like scary movies, but you guys make me watch them. And this week, Mikey made us watch Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead?
Phantasm 3!
In a movie that is titled Lord of the Dead. Who's the Lord of the Dead?
So Sauron is the Lord of the Rings.
Yes, yeah, that's Lord of the Rings, yes.
Go for it, Mikey. Tell us everything.
I mean, the tall man has to be the Lord of the Dead.
Does he, or is there a big bad behind the tall man?
There's a lot of lore to unpack. First off,
great, okay.
This is my favorite franchise, I think. This film took it over the top.
It is madness.
Was this the first time you saw this movie, though, Mikey?
Yes.
It was a first for me, too. Yeah.
Yes, first all around.
And I remembered the wackiness of the second one. But then, there's something special about this series where they get the same actors and then continue on. They yes and the movies, I think, to the point where it's so good and madness and it's just perfect. It makes no sense, but also perfect.
At least this one's realistic because, Reggie... Why did you laugh, Mikey? This is realistic. Yeah, I bought all of this. Especially the part where when he finally got to, I guess he had sex with the lady, but, it was a dream.
Yeah, it was only a dream.
Because there's no way he was pulling that. Although I think in the last one he had sex with a much younger woman, but it ended up being the tall man.
Look, it's time for me to unpack a few things about Phantasm for you all. One, I have the formula, and then two, Reggie is me. Because Reggie is if your fun uncle got dragged into a horror movie and tried his best.
Yes.
That is Reggie.
And for some reason survived. There's no reason Reggie should ever be alive. He definitely would be the dead one.
And it's just because he's a decent dude.
Is he?
Yeah, he's going to try to smash. But he respects no. You know what I'm saying?
Not really. No, he's creeping on her in that bed.
She had to cuff him to the bed to get him to stop.
Yeah, there were a lot of no's that did not get respected.
I don't want to blame the victim, but she did say, okay, come on into the bed. He should have slept on the floor. He wasn't gonna.
He didn't want to. I respected her use of handcuffs, but she should not have had to.
He didn't complain once about being handcuffed into sleep.
It was a real Gerald's Game kind of a move. He seemed kind of into it.
Gerald Ford?
I think it was Gerald Ford, wasn't it?
Gerald's War Games.
I've never seen it. It's a documentary, right? He straps himself to the bed and passes some OPEC thing. I don't know. It was the 70s.
Cold War stuff. Yeah. Boring.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch that shit.
But he's always he's just fun uncle. He just tries to be nice to kids and then drop them off and then they follow him and he's like, all right, fuck it. You can do kind of some of the stuff you're not supposed to do, but
I'll let you drive even though you're a full child.
I mean, it does cut immediately to him driving. He's like, okay, that was enough of that shit. You have to go sit, hold your dead brother's ball or whatever.
But also that kid had murdered 9 people, so you have to respect it a little bit.
Yeah.
That kid had killed more people than I think most action heroes have killed.
Yes.
And it's almost like an impressive number of people. If someone was I killed a person, I'd be like, oh my God, that's terrible. But this kid's I killed 1,000 people. I'm like, oh my God, congrats.
Reggie's car is like a dimensional DeLorean. He actually went to The Walking Dead, picked that kid up, and came back into the Phantasm world with Carl.
Is that Carl? Did Carl get good at shooting later in life?
Yeah. In the show, no, but in the books, yes.
Okay,
so before we get distracted, because you have a formula and things you want to talk about, I have a weird theory I want to talk about, so go ahead, yes.
Here's how the formula Phantasm works.
Okay.
You think everybody's dead because of the end of the last movie.
Right.
They're not.
Okay.
Reggie comes along and he's like, we got to hunt the tall man.
Got it.
And then he finds Mike and or another kid to go with him.
Yes.
And then at some point, he fucks a dead person.
Sure.
Yes.
Or mind sexes him, or both.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
find
yeah.
out, and then like he... Reggie has hooked up with the tall man more than I have people I've actually dated.
Reggie has gone balls deep in the tall man more than once.
That's so
yes.
true.
Okay,
Oh,
so
no.
in my theory, I think the tall man has some feelings for Reggie because he's just...
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
He's like a good dude, you know? He's just a good dude and a generous lover every time tall man pretends to be a woman.
This improves this for me so much.
We didn't get a Mary Shelley moment in this movie, though, and I was waiting for it. Like Reggie dicking someone down in a graveyard. That's what I wanted.
It was in a mausoleum. Is that not close enough?
I'm going to give them credit because there's dead bodies everywhere. So, yeah, I'll say it counts.
Wait, wasn't it? He has sex out of a dream in this movie?
Well, he gets blowied by that zombie in the mausoleum.
Oh, I guess that's true. Ooh.
Reggie pulls. They hate sex him all day, every day.
Reggie's biggest question is, hey, are you alive or dead? Because if you're dead, I'm definitely getting in that.
Reggie don't care. Reggie is on a journey. In the last movie, he just like, I'm dedicating my life to hunt the undead alien invaders who are small people condensed by gravity that come through the gates from the other dimension. And then once he made that quad shotgun, he has sex when he can't.
Oh, that quad shotgun is the fucking best thing. It's so
Guys,
crazy.
it shoots once straight into the air and then four, like, Jawas fall out of the trees.
I mean,
I was screaming. That was
I think
so
it's just
great.
3, but still, I, lost my mind.
It's 3, but I was losing it.
I guess he
Wanna
missed one of
see
the 4 shots. Like, they would have all had to have been jumping at the same time in the same space. Like, how did he do that?
Magic.
it's just, he's good. He's good at what he
He's
does.
that good, man. He's that good.
You know what he's not good at? Cutting his ponytail.
He keeps it.
I think it's the source of his power.
No, Reggie is unapologetically Reggie, and that is the source of his power. He is his authentic self at all times.
This week on Unapologetically Reggie.
He plays himself first
He does.
off.
In fact,
I do think that he doesn't really know where the phantasm world exists and where his real life exists. Like, I do think he just is himself in these movies.
I think he just got lucky. He was like the background character who became the franchise.
yes.
This has been my favorite one of them. I love them all. So this is hard to say.
Sure.
But this one, okay, so I love Friday the 13th. I love all these franchises. But the fact that they just keep going with the same story, it is so wildly addictive.
It's nuts. It's terrible and great at the same time.
It's not the same camp. And then other people come. It is Reggie. Like, this movie takes place 10 years. Like, he's like, I've been fighting these guys for 10 years. Like, his whole life is driving a Camaro and shooting people.
Yeah, for 10 years.
Except that it's not 10 years because they drive through multiple cities that experience this for multiple years, which means that either the tall man is omnipotent and doing this in multiple places all at the same time.
That's the answer.
It has to be, because otherwise it could not make sense.
I mean, we got a lot of lore explanation this episode.
We actually did.
That
Like,
it does not give us.
oh, come on.
Whoa,
I think
Dave.
everything is explained perfectly.
Michael
First of all-
says there's 1,000 tall men all
Yes.
doing it.
Okay, first of all, it says that in the last 4 minutes of the movie with no real explanation.
I feel like that is a real
Well,
explanation.
that's a
I don't know.
super good
That sounds
explanation.
very logical
we
to me.
learned how they make the balls.
We did learn how they make the balls. But okay, first of all, this is my first time seeing this today. It is hilarious and wild. I do think it is the best one. I also think that they either had way more money or just found amazing sets, because the mausoleum is definitely shot in the same one every time, no matter where they go.
Every mausoleum I've been in looks the same.
He's been in one mausoleum, Paige. But a bunch of mausoleums.
Here's the thing, though. If you remember from the first two, and they definitely reused sets between the first two, where they were just covered in marble contact paper, right? Like,
Yes.
it was ridiculous. This one, they clearly found a dope-ass looking mausoleum with candles and shit, and then they were just like, use this every time they're in any sort of mausoleum, and then go for it. And it looks way better. It vastly improves the appearance of the film.
Yo, this movie has some great stunts, Paige.
It does have good stunts.
Crazy.
This is the best made Phantasm, 100%.
By far, and yet it still makes me feel, someone who's never made a full-length feature film, like I could. It's like so accessible from a filmmaking standpoint for anybody. Like I would encourage you right now with your phone to go shoot a Phantasm sequel.
But like Mikey said, okay, the problem with this movie is that we've basically watched the same movie 3 times.
No.
They just get better at it every time because like multiple times in this movie, the movie thinks it's giving us new information and it's information we have known for 2 movies where at one point they're just like, see, they have to compact into the dwarf-like creatures for the gravity and then they take and fill them with mustard. I was like, I know. You don't come to this after not watching.
Yeah, but that's for new people.
Who's watching Phantasm 3 new?
You don't know. You got to make it accessible. You got to throw the line in of like, remember, it's the gravity.
No, Mikey.
Okay, I politely disagree because
Okay.
we learned that Michael is one of the orbs and Jody.
We do that, but not till the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Well, he gets made an orb at the end of this movie. Yeah.
No. He was always an orb because he was like,
No.
he said, Michael, it's time for you to escape your fleshy prison. My theory is that he has been an orb.
Is that your interpretation of what happens?
Yes.
I read that differently, but I don't know what's real.
Is Jody even real?
No, Joey's real. They were a real family. The movie tells us.
Yes, but then when did he become an orb?
Look, OB Joey won.
Okay.
Joby won Kenobi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jody won
Look.
Kenobi. Okay.
We land in a hard cliffhanger where Joby won yes.
Joby won Kenobi.
No, timeout.
Can we settle on a nickname for? Is it Joby won Kenobi? Is it Jody won Kenobi?
Jody, it's DY.
Thank you.
Is that the same actor as the kid who died in the car wreck of the first?
Absolutely not. Well, it might be. Honestly, I haven't had a chance to look much of
You
Fun Facts.
just don't know with this franchise.
You don't know. We can't get bogged down in it because in that scene where he's wandering off into the graveyard, Jody says, it's one thing to see, it's another thing to understand. Be patient. And I'm like, we've given you 3 movies. How much more time do you need? Because what I need, Mikey, hold on for 2 seconds. What I need is to build on the lore of the tall man so I care more because I'm having a good time, right? It's absolute bonkers madness every time, but we basically have the same movie every time. He finds a kid, they go after him, they go to the mausoleum. It is basically the same movie. It's just made better each time. Much like an Evil Dead, right? But what would make this better is if we got any actual new information about the tall man, which we only get in this movie in the last 5 minutes with no actual explanation about what's going on. So now we kind of know, we're like, okay, so the orbs are the people and their brains in the orbs. This is the first movie we found that out.
Mm-hmm.
There's an orb inside Michael's head. How long has it been there? Who's to say, right?
We need to know. Jody became an orb and he was able to break the programming.
And how does that work, right? So, like, are the orbs sentient? Because he's like, no, it removes something about their cortex, so they're just slave orbs. But, like, then why can he break out of it? And it's one of those things where the movie spends so much time giving us information we don't need instead of the information we do.
I take offense to that.
But, Mikey, the information they are giving us that is not necessarily useful for puzzle pieces for the plot is a bunch of nunchucks, and so you can't be mad.
Okay, so I guess our definitions of useful information are different. It is very useful that woman who is named Rambo, is it her name, Rambo?
It's Rocky. Her name is Rocky.
Very close, though.
Yeah, very close in so much as that it starts with an R and is 2 syllables.
And it's a Stallone
And
character.
it's a Stallone character, yes.
I guess that's a movie a franchise I'll have to check out, I suppose.
See, Paige, you watched this for the tall man. I watched this for Reggie. We're 2 different people.
Mikey we're not the same meme to you. He's like,
Yeah.
He's like, you're out here watching it for the tall man. I'm out here watching it for Reggie. We're not the same.
Yeah.
He's like adjusting his tie.
The tall man's waiting for Reggie to text him. You know what I'm saying?
I just want Reggie to be able to break the cycle, because if you told me in Phantasm 4, they're like, it's been a time loop the whole time, I'd be like, well, now all of this makes sense.
Okay. I think it happened in one town with Michael and Reggie at the beginning.
Okay.
And then he discovers another town. So they get Michael, they go try to kill him forever.
Right.
What they discover in this film is that there's 1,000 tall mans and it's happening everywhere. It's a full-blown alien invasion.
So he is omnipotent.
Well, I think the tall man is he's like just the figure that the aliens take.
He's like a deity.
He's
No.
not Josh Hartnett, Paige.
I think they're like a Men in Black where they like wear the flesh suit.
Oh, like an Egger suit.
Yeah, he's an Egger suit everywhere.
Oh.
Except the Edgar suit is a silver ball your brain sits in and flies you around.
No. The Egger suit is the old man. Like, they're all wearing the old man.
Yeah.
And that's why they can pull new ones out from the pylons every time.
Okay.
Now, I do think the one from the first movie and the second movie is the one from the third movie because they just figured out that there's a ball inside. They've never killed it before.
Right.
And that's why Reggie has been fucking the same tall man the whole series.
Right, because they've got a deep and intimate relationship.
Yeah.
And this is why the tall man lets him go sometimes. This is why the tall man just kind of does weird stuff where he could have killed him because they've developed a physical and emotional bond.
And if you love something, you gotta let it go.
Gotta let
See
it
if it
go.
comes back with a quad shotgun to kill you.
Well, it's all on the tall man's side. Yeah. The tall man has to take the form of a woman, and then Reggie will sleep with the tall man. But the tall man really likes that he like pillow talks and like says nice things about them later.
Sure. Okay, follow-up questions.
Sure.
In the first movie, isn't there something where it looks like neither one of them should have escaped and there's questions about who died and when, right?
Yeah.
Because there's that end scene at the fireplace where it's like, this was all a dream or whatever. So for argument's sake, let's say both he and Jody have been dead this whole time and they've both got orbs and have had them since the first movie.
Wait, are they dead even if they're orbed, or is it just their brain shrunk down into the orb silver ball?
Well, that's the question, because it seems like there's a difference where there's zombies or orbed people, but
Right.
the orbed people are usually the compacted people because of the gravity. But maybe is it because they've never been to the other planet? But like,
That's how I was explaining the zombies to myself. Those are pre-other planet compacted people, right?
Yeah.
So they're not yet zombie, like small Jawas. I don't know what else to call them when
They're
they wear those
Jawas.
suits.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is.
here's my question, because Jody doesn't have a body. Jody is just an orb at this point.
Right.
Michael still has a body, but is also an orb. What's the differentiation there?
I think Michael got a body like the tall man and was sent to spy on Reggie when Reggie never called.
Okay, that's very possible because, he left him on red. But
Reggie.
is there something special about Jody and Michael and their family or their town?
They're brothers.
Yeah, but he would have killed tons of brothers if they killed full towns.
Yeah. Jody obviously has mastered ball life and is like he's there to rescue Michael he's chasing Michael out into the darkness. And Reggie and the kid, Tim. Is Tim the kid's name?
Tim.
Yeah. Sociopathic Kevin McAllister. Yeah.
And then
Yes.
they're like, we just got to go figure out more stuff. And we need, I am so excited about the fourth if it just picks up right after this.
I mean,
At this point, it would have been better as an HBO show, but fine.
sure, yes. There's no way they had enough money to make it right after, because I think the fourth one is many years later. But also, I don't see how Reggie gets out of the end of this one. But that's been the case with every movie where you're like, I don't see how they made it out. And then the next movie, they're like, whoo, aren't you glad we got out of that one? Here's what happened in the last movie. And you're like, they tell you everything and nothing at the same time, where they're like, there's the mustard machine. We've got to go. We've got to run through here. And you're like, I know I watched this. I know I've seen all of this before. I have no new information. I don't know.
My favorite part is when they take a 3-second clip from the first one and they're like, oh yeah, he hates the cold.
Right.
I inferred it from this 3 seconds where he stood behind an ice cream machine.
Well, because you remember Reggie was the ice cream man. That was his job.
That's right. And his truck got crashed. But like, that's the thing. It's like more franchises could do better like this in sequels. This makes more sense than the new Halloween trilogy. And I'm just going to say that. And I'm going to put it down. I'm going to place it on the table and walk away.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I don't love that we have basically seen the same movie 3 times. But I will say that in doing that, the incremental lore we learn every time does kind of help. But I just think there's a more masterful way to do that.
Okay. What if this was a time loop video game?
Ooh, where you were replaying it every time and learning new information. This is what I mean. Like, if you told me in part 4 that Reggie's been in a time loop and he's reliving it every time and we're learning more every time, then I'd be like, okay, now I understand. I feel like this didn't need 3 movies, but sure.
I'm thinking the fourth one's when this is really we're gonna bust it wide open here.
Maybe. I'm thinking that the person that made these has like one storyline and then they kind of just change out the set dressings around it. And that's how they make movies. But aren't we glad they did it, right?
I have no complaints. I really enjoyed it.
Wait. I have looked up the synopsis for the fourth one. It's not the same movie. I'm going to read it to you.
Amazing. Okay.
Mike flees from the last movie in a hearse from the tall man who wants to enslave him, and he is investigating the origins of his enemy. Elsewhere, Reggie searches for Mike in a variety of dimensions.
That does sound like the same movie, Mikey, unfortunately, because in this movie, if you just replace dimensions with towns, that's this movie.
I forgot one sentence.
Okay.
All the while battling mysterious spheres, including the ones he's discovered in the breasts of his beautiful undead companion.
Oh my God, I have to go watch this movie immediately. Hang on.
I will tell you when I told Jake I was watching this today, because Jake has seen this before. He's like, is that the one with the evil boobs or the badass nunchucks?
Badass nunchucks.
And I was like, I've seen neither. And I was like, oh, it turns out it's badass nunchucks.
I did think it was insanely dumb to watch a child shoot a man in the head and then that man be fine and then be like, I got this with my nunchucks.
And then have him fall over, have nunchucks prevail where bullets did not. But Mikey, if that log line you just read us, with the exception of the fantastic boob part, cannot wait to watch the next one. But like, that is literally it. The only difference between that and this is that we get
Paige,
more of Mike's story.
Every Halloween, Michael Myers kills a bunch of people. Every Mad Max, they're in a car and then the desert, they're racing.
That's true.
Every Phantasm, Reggie's fucking undead people and Mike is searching for answers. And that's what I want from a franchise.
Here's my final question, and then we can get into talking about how wonderful this movie is. Why did it take them 4 films to put globes into boobs?
I don't know, Paige.
Paige.
Right?
Perhaps we'll get there in the next movie. Why are you teasing me with greatness yet to come?
I have a follow-up question. Is there 2 per person or one boob has, because they're brains.
Right,
so
right.
would you have 3 people in a person, 1 in each boob and in the brain?
Finally, a woman with 2 brains. 3 brains.
3 brains.
3 brains. Sorry, excuse me.
I think there's a Steve Martin movie about this.
Yes.
So here, this goes back to my problems with the lore. Is that like, are all the spheres brains?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or are only some of them?
No, they're all brains.
They're all brains.
They're not, because in the first movie, they cut a couple open, ain't no brains inside.
You cannot hold previous movies to current movie lore. Like, that's not fair. Like, they're retconning a lot here, but you just got to get on the bus, baby. Like,
I mean, they do retcon a
Yeah.
lot.
Paige, I too believe Han shot first, but right now, Greedo did.
No.
You know, that's all. I mean, like, that's what's happening.
I refuse. Films are not living documents. Okay, so let's say that it's 3 brains, or are they just the attack spheres? The hunter-killers from Dune? Like, is it just...
I think it's more like a Power Ranger situation where you got to tell the right boob to sit
like
there,
a Megazord.
shoot the knights out. Yeah.
Okay.
You got a guy living in your right boob. Just
Yeah.
You're like, go for it.
Yeah.
Boob people, shoot your knives out.
Oh my God, but what if they got that girl from Total Recall?
she'd be unstoppable.
I'm telling you, I'm watching the rest of the franchise this Halloween because it's like, this is fun horror in a way. Not everything has to be scary, but it also is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Honestly, some of the physical and practical effects are good.
They're gross. Yeah.
They're not really all that scary, but they're gross.
Yeah.
And they hold up, man. Like, I was surprised when I saw some of like the bodies and stuff. Like when he was taking the brain out and the body was like moving and shit. I was like, God, this is not the Phantasm I remember. Because it's like good practical effects. Yeah.
I know. They had way more money or something. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, Mikey. I feel like even if you watch it this Halloween, even if we have you back for the next Phantasm, there's no way you're going to remember what happened in that movie by the time we come back.
No, I didn't remember what happened in the second one, and I watched it for the pod. I let this movie paint the picture.
Same. I was like, I'm not going back to redo these.
I just finished this movie 40 minutes ago, and I don't know what happened in this movie. It's insane.
I know that my brain liked it, and I got the dopamine, and it's only 90 minutes, and like I'm here for it.
That's fair. And you know what? Bless them. Because like, if you're going to do a movie this fucking weird with these effects and a story that makes no goddamn sense, 90 minutes is the appropriate amount of time.
Yeah, I can't believe I missed this franchise as a child. Like, this was the perfect franchise for me. This is like the perfect Mikey movie.
I am glad that we picked it up for the show. This has been very, very, very fun.
Yeah, I will come back and do all of them. I will do a movie. This is a fantastic movie marathon. The first one sucks compared to 2 and 3 though.
How dare you? We get Reggie and Jody's amazing music in the first one.
We do get their music in the first one, and that never comes back.
And the creepiest ice cream guy that inexplicably becomes the main character of the franchise.
The hero.
I need to Google Reggie because he was just a side character in the first one. Do you think he talks about how he's like, then my friends just put me in this franchise forever?
Yes. That is exactly what happened.
Mikey, if you Google Reggie, he will wonder why he's spiking on Google Trends.
I want a cameo from Reggie.
I bet that would be easy to get.
I bet he's on Cameo, bro.
I will find out right now. Hold on.
I have a real quick question while she's looking that up. When Tim killed, I don't know, the scavengers or whatever, and one of them fell into like an 8 foot by 8 foot by 8 foot deep hole, he then buries them, not in that big ass hole.
That's his trap hole. He ain't gonna ruin that.
What are you saying? It was already...
He needs the trap hole for the next group of marauders. He's killed like 12 of them.
I know, but you could leave the bodies in the trap hole and make the trap hole really scary.
Well, if the trap hole gets too shallow, he could just jump out if there's so many bodies down there.
Exactly. You got to clear him out eventually. I do like that we never see him kill that guy in the trap hole, but then that guy's just automatically a zombie later. Okay.
Technically, he's not a war criminal if the graves are singular.
I don't think that's a loophole that I'm comfortable with, at least. That can't be real, right?
I'm pretty sure that's not a loophole. I don't think so. Okay, so Reggie is in fact on Cameo. Please go buy cameos from him. His profile picture is black and white of him holding a chainsaw from Phantasm II.
Hell yeah, Reggie.
Hell yeah.
Love. Because do you remember the crazy chainsaw parts of Phantasm II?
Yes.
That's all I remember of Phantasm 2.
Where he takes it off that shelf that there's no way it can fit on.
So funny.
Now, here's the thing. On Cameo, you could also send him a message, like if you just wanted to chat with him for $2.99.
Per message or just for the conversation?
I think it's probably per message.
That's old school.
But more about Reggie Bannister, known as the hardest working man in horror. He has starred in hundreds of films, including all 5 Phantasms.
Hundreds?
Starred?
I bet he's been in, first of all, a ton of indies and student films, probably. And then, starred is a relative term, but he's definitely been in all 5 of these.
His IMDb has 60 credits to his name.
But that's only the ones that make it to IMDb, because I've been in at least 3 movies that aren't on IMDb, and that's just me.
Are these like home productions of an adult nature? I don't know.
Hey.
No, these were like fully funded movies while I was in film school. But here's the thing. People make movies all the time that you will never see, because the only movies that you see are the ones that manage to get some sort of digital or real life distribution. And that's a fraction of the movies that get made. So if you were in film school, or if you live in LA or New York or have any friends that are filmmakers, you'll end up in a ton of movies that then you maybe see once at the premiere and then never see again.
Is Phantasm 5?
It came out in 2016 and the tall man died that same year.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the newest one, right?
And it killed the tall man.
Wow, this is exciting.
We got to send him a message. We'll expense it to the Horror Virgin account and just be like, so are the orbs a representation of the omnipotence of the tall man? Or just ask if he wants to come on the show.
Yeah, I do wonder if they have a shared conscience where all tall men love Reggie or just this singular tall man.
I like to think it's this singular tall man, and much like Kyle Reese in Terminator, he came across time for Reggie.
He came across tuning forks from another dimension for Reggie, at least.
Yeah, and probably across some sheets and a couple graves.
Definitely graves. But maybe we should just go through this movie scene by scene, guys.
Let's do it. We open on a silver ball, and thus begins a 15-minute recap of the first 2 movies.
What's great about this 15-minute recap is it tells you almost no plot and only shows you action sequences from those first 2 movies.
Right.
And so I was left very confused as to who people were and why they were still alive.
Not me. I remember Michael. I remember Jody. I didn't remember their names, so I'm glad it reminded me. And I remember Reggie.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And I remember the tall man. That's all you need.
Yeah, no, but I'm watching this, and it's just I could feel him watching me. In the apartment, he didn't take Jody. It was all a dream. The old man, boy, with the mirror. Reggie with the bat. Jawas everywhere.
That is like if you threw every Phantasm script into like a word cloud and it's just saying all of those in a way that sounds like a sentence.
Boy
Yes.
is the biggest one in the center of the word cloud is just boy.
I was glad they did it though, because I needed some reminders.
Oh, Mikey, I needed it too. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Well, and then we get the you stabbed him with the mustard machine and the flamethrower, but somehow he keeps coming back. And we cut from like his dead body to him stepping back through the pylons, and they're like, we thought we destroyed him, but you can never trust the things that you see.
Which is the theme of the film, Paige.
It is the theme of the film. I just remember when we watched the first one and we were like, this is terrible. And people are all like, this is dream logic. I was like, no, that's not a thing. But then the second and third one slapped. So whatevs. But we end this like recap montage with him going to make out with that other girl and part of her scalp falls off. And it turns out her eyes go all milky, which I think means that she's fully orbed.
She's fully orbed out, yeah.
She's fully orbed and they crash that hearse. Thus begins Phantasm III. The hearse has crashed. Reggie's been attacked. Michael and the other girl, which I don't know if you remember the other girl, but she and Michael had never met, but they just like psychically fell in love and then met in that graveyard to get down.
I remember. Yeah.
Anyway, she's dead. They leave her behind instantly. they have they aren't even sad about it.
At least they explain where she went.
Yeah, at least they explain where she went, where they're like, we ate part of her face and here's her severed head. But the Jawas surround them. And Reggie pulls up his quad shotgun, fires once, and 3 of them fall out of the tree.
What made me laugh was like, were there 4 bodies and one of them didn't like fall correctly, so we just didn't get it and they were like, fuck it, we got 3, it's fine. Like, were they trying to do 1 per barrel and failed, I guess is my question.
I mean, that would have been hysterical if it was 4, but it's just as funny for me as 3.
It is funny. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's 3 in directions so disparate, it's so impossible.
I love it.
It's all over the map.
It's buckshot. You just shoot it up, the whole tree goes.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, but they fell so far away. Like, they would have fallen down.
Yeah.
And it's like he caught them all mid-jump, and they were jumping in the same area, but in all different directions, and their inertia carried them far into the shot. It was crazy.
It reminded me of that scene in Arachnophobia at the beginning where all the spiders fall out of the tree.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Ugh.
Except Jawas are bigger than spiders. But yeah.
Not those Arachnophobia spiders.
That's true. The arachnophobia spiders do be getting big. We watched a spider movie while you were gone that was actually pretty good.
While you were gone. Remember when you quit the podcast, Mikey? Welcome back, by the way.
I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Since you've been gone, we watched movies with a giant spider.
It was called Sting. You would have hated it because it was actually pretty scary. And I know you don't like
It
spiders.
was really good. Her head is off and they're carrying it. And originally it had no face, but suddenly there's a face back on
Well,
it.
it looked like they just, like the Jawa was just eating her nose off, which is
Right.
gross. But like, I've heard about bath salts and what happens. Like, I've heard about it. I know what happens on bath salts.
Yeah. I'm just saying start with the cheeks. Get that like human guanciale.
How are we going to solve this global warming crisis if not through the cheeks?
That's what I'm saying. Clap some cheeks.
Yes.
gross.
Anyway, Reggie, like the tall man shows up and he's like, I've got to take him back. And he's like, well, then you're going to get him in pieces because I'm going to blow both of us up with a grenade. Always
Yeah.
escalating.
This is a philosophy I think Reggie has always lived by, and I have struggled in my life, and I think I may need to adopt it because it seems to work out great for him, and that is always have pocket grenade.
Yeah.
Because you can get out of any situation by pulling out a grenade and like pulling the pin and like I could let this go at any moment.
8 seconds to hell, damn you.
Todd, I'm from the South where I walk tall and always carry a grenade.
The thing is, he carries a quad gun. What's going to beat that? Oh, a grenade. Okay. It like had to be a grenade. Like you couldn't one up a quad shotgun to like a rifle even. You would have to have a bazooka or something. Like a grenade is logical, I think, in this situation.
Or vest of dynamite would be great.
Yes. Yeah.
I dare say The Last of Us stole everything from Phantasm.
I think that is a very fair comparison because it's insane. This whole movie's crazy. I don't know. I've only seen The Last of Us. I couldn't play the video game because it was too scary, but loved the series. Honestly, I wish it had been a little bit better like this was, though. It's so serious. This movie is not serious at all.
No. Anyway, the tall man is like, fine, take care of him, and Reggie resets the grenade, which begs the question, why does the tall man need Mike's body intact? And why doesn't he turn him right after he imprisons him later in this movie?
I don't know the answer to your first question, but I think it has to do with the answer to your second question, and it is he's into that body. You know what I'm saying?
So he's cheating on Reggie with Mike?
I have a third thing to tell you. It's not about Mike.
Reggie won't commit, Paige.
How do you get Reggie to run after you? You steal his mic.
Oh. Is that what happened?
Reggie's chasing Mike. You're chasing Reggie, but who's chasing you, tall man?
Yes, exactly. Except for Reggie when you steal Mike.
Right.
That's why he's got to steal Mike.
Toxic relationship cycles.
We've all been there.
Okay, and tall man thought vulnerable. He doesn't show up with that woman's head and say, I've come for you, Reggie. He said, I'm come for Mike. And he's like, you can't have him. I'll blow everybody up. And he's like,
I'll wait.
He's like, I'll wait for you.
He literally says, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I'll wait for you, Reggie. This movie's so fucking romantic, man. I mean, like, if you think about it, Paige, it's actually super romantic.
Super. I mean, it's just two people who love across the ages and are fated to be separated by the wars between their planet and ours.
Except Reggie has firmly put him in the fiend zone.
Yes. Oh my God, Mikey.
Classic Mikeyism. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up, boys. Mike, you'll see you next year.
I still got it.
You've always had it, Mikey. That's why I wanted you to be on the podcast to begin with.
That's so dumb. I love it so much. Somebody make a t-shirt. Yeah, we'll have one that just says more blood and more titties, which is my new catchphrase. And then another one that just says fiend zone. Oh, God. Anyway, we cut to the hospital where Mike is in some sort of coma. And Reggie is just like, any updates? And they're like, still no change. And he's like, all right, I'll leave then.
I guess I'll just take this suit off that I'm wearing for no reason and you'll never see me wear again. I guess maybe he's like a tax attorney or something. He's like a CPA.
Because he's a classic guy.
In his day job that he's been doing also for the past 10 years to pay the bills, and at night he moonlights as a Jawa murderer.
CPA, cream purveyor associate. He's still an ice cream man.
Hell yeah, man.
Meanwhile, the nurse is basically a deadite and is trying to drill through his head to get to that orb.
Or, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Maybe the orb's already there.
Maybe it's there.
Who knows?
Who knows? Mike seems to be dreaming and unconscious at the same time. And it seems like the nurse is going to be like, hey.
Isn't that normally how you dream? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, fuck.
You daydream, though, Todd. You do.
I daydream.
I guess you could daydream. I can't do either because I struggle to visualize anything.
I quit again.
Maggie, you can't double quit the podcast.
I met somebody else who had the same thing, and they actually described it in a very interesting and different way, but we're not going to get into it because Mikey will leave the podcast.
The truth's out, everyone. I need you to visualize me quitting the podcast if you keep talking about this.
I can't. I literally lived through it and I can't even visualize it. I just get sad. I can really tune into the feeling of it. But Mikey, you've been so successful at finding love and building a solid foundation for growth and eventually children someday, right?
It's not working yet. I'm going to be back in 6 months if we keep going this way.
Okay, so we cut in between when he's in the hospital and the nurse is maybe fully orbed. We cut to the mortuary where the tall man has an orb and opens it and there's a brain in it. Now, the brain does look kind of different. It's like pink as opposed to yellow like the others, which makes me think it maybe was Jody's brain. And is Jody like a secret agent within?
So from what I can understand from this vast lore catalog here is that the brains shrink down in the gravity well, and then you can put them into the orb.
Yeah, it's the pressure of the other Earth's atmosphere, not Earth or whatever, other planet's atmosphere that shrinks all of them down to Jawa size, and he pulls Jawa brain out and put it inside of orb.
Yeah, all their heads look the same to me, but their brains, I guess, have shrunk.
Okay. Because the other one that we see him pull out later when we see this process looks fully mustarded, but this one doesn't. But maybe he just cleaned it off. Anyway, there's a brain in the silver ball. That's the first time we've ever seen this. We cut back to the hospital. Mike's about to get drilled by that lady, by that nurse.
Yeah.
Maybe she puts the orb in. We don't know, because this is where Jody shows up and is like, don't go towards the light.
I think Mike's been orbed since movie 1.
What?
I think that's an interesting take, and I think it's possible.
Sure, anything's possible.
Since adult Mike showed up, he's had an orb inside of him.
Okay.
Well, no, so movie 1 is kid Mike, but there is that piece at the end where it's a question as to whether or not Mike has been dead or Jody's been dead and who has actually been dead. So that could be a place where the orb comes in. I think you could also argue that maybe this scene right here is where he gets the orb, where he's supposed to walk towards the light. And Jody's like, don't walk towards the light. But then he does. And he's like, you're not with these others. Stay away from the light. But then he doesn't, because the old man the tall man shows up and he's just like, boy. And he wakes up and the nurse is evil. And he like stabs her and the mustard and the plugs. And this is where like her head pops open and the orb comes out of it.
Yeah.
And it's got like a little eyeball that watches them through the window, while Mike basically escapes with Reggie. And he's like, I can see Jody. He's like, no, Jody's been dead for 10 years, but like, let's go.
Yeah, Jody's in the corner watching.
Yeah, he's in the corner watching the nurse and the orb. Anyway, they take the quad shotgun, they get in the car, and all of a sudden, what? It is Jody. Jody's actually here. And Reggie's like, you're dead. And he's just like, what else is new? As if that answers anything. It doesn't.
Literally came back from the dead, and he says, so what else is new?
So what else is new?
I don't know. I'm coming back from the dead, Reggie. Jesus.
That's how you know it's Jody.
That's how you know, I guess. But this is where they're at like Reggie's house and they're trying to like quickly pack because they're like, we got to run because the tall man. And he's like, oh, the tall man might have tracked me and locked on to me. So of course the orbs and other stuff show up with a silver ball to kill them. And they like, the old man is like, it's my time now, boy. And he takes Mike. And Reggie is down, passed out in his own home, knocked out by an orb that ends up still being Jody, even though it's been burned.
I think it does get burned at one point.
I can't argue with you because I don't know for sure, but nothing sounds right or wrong. So yes.
Dream logic. And that orb does seem to be Jody. I guess my question is Jody good or bad? And I don't think we actually know.
Jody's good.
Are we sure? Or did the tall man send the orb?
He attacks the tall man. He rebels. And then he saves Mike. And then he gives the car directions and everything. Jody's good.
That's true. At least that orb, whoever that orb is, maybe even just taking the form of Jody is good.
That's Jody's magic 8 orb.
His brain's gotta be in there, right? Like, we didn't see that happen, but it's gotta be.
Yeah, that's real Jody. He's like RoboCopped into a ball.
This is the RoboCop sequel I wanted.
There you go. We have the technology. We can rebuild.
We can orb him.
I feel like with the amount of times this movie says you can't believe everything you see, I don't know that I can trust that is actually Jody, but I can trust that the orb is trying to help them and maybe using the form of Jody as a way to get their trust to do that.
Sure. I mean, who knows, Faye? Like, what are we at? I mean, it's all crazy.
There's no way to know.
I think they just say you can't believe everything you see because they know they're going to make mistakes when writing and filming and producing this movie, and they would rather not you criticize them on it.
That's fair.
So they're like, guys, don't worry about it. We'll get it better next time.
Yeah.
In Phantasm 4 and then 5.
Right.
No, that's what I'm saying. This sets up the sequel where I need to know. And then in 2016, maybe they answer these questions 30 years in the making.
I don't think they will, but you know what? I'm here to find out.
Hi, I'm Kat.
And I'm Pat.
We're from Seek Treatment Podcast, and we're here to talk about Blue Land. Do you know what I'm so about right now, Pat?
What? Tell me. Do not tell me.
Well, ready for this? I just heard that we're eating and drinking roughly a credit card's worth of plastic a week. Yeah, that's right.
Oh my God.
I know. The products we're using are contaminating our water supply, generating hundreds of microplastics that we're eating. So here's the good news. You're never going to believe this. Blue Land is doing something about it. They're eliminating the need for single-use plastic in the products we reach for the most.
From cleaning sprays to hand soap, toilet bowl cleaner, and laundry tablets, all Blue Land products are made with clean ingredients that you can feel good about. Blue Land is trusted in over 1 million homes, including mine. That's correct.
They offer refillable cleaning products with a beautiful, cohesive design that looks great on your counter. And refills start at just $2.25. You can even set up a subscription or buy in bulk for additional savings. I used my Blue Land spray today. I cleaned my dirty yoga mat with my Blue Land all-purpose spray today. It smelled good. It got the job done. And the bottle looked beautiful while doing it.
Blue Land has a special offer for listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/save15.
You won't want to miss this. Blueland.com/save15 for 15% off. That's blueland.com/save15 to get 15% off.
So Reggie wakes up on the floor of this house in the middle of nowhere, and the orb is still making noise, but there's a giant burn mark in the floor. He's never getting that deposit back. And he pulls up the orb and he's like, damn it, Jody, even you couldn't stop him. But the orb whispers the name of a city. And he's like, well, now I'm talking to this thing and it fucked up my hallway. We gotta go. Holtzville, Idaho. So he takes the ball with him in a soft top black Barracuda, which looks amazing, not practical, but amazing.
No, and he ruins it.
He ruins it, yep. But we get to the gas station and we get the harbinger of every horror movie.
Literally the harbinger. It's like exactly that in every like cabin in the woods movie.
Yep. And he's like, what's up Highway 32? And he's like,
oh, you don't want to go up there. That's where the toxic spill happened.
Toxic spill. Place is full of mustard, you know? Like, and did you guys notice that this gas station sells bullets?
It was Idaho, Paige. Of course it sold bullets.
It's America. It said 357 Magnum clip.
Yeah.
Which,
clips.
Isn't that a revolver?
I don't know. You are asking the wrong person. But I saw one that said Beretta, and I was like, the TV show or the bullets? Because for the gun, like.
Definitely the bullet.
Well, first off, I don't think Beretta's a bullet. Beretta, I believe, is a gun. Yeah.
It's a gun, for sure.
It's a gun. But like, I think it would have been really funny if they walked in and he's like, yeah, I'll have the Beretta, and they just handed him like a DVD copy of the show.
Or just bread with tomatoes on it.
Oh, you mean burrata or bruschetta. That's bruschetta.
Paige, you're just making up rap ad-libs right now.
Yeah.
Brata, brata.
Anyway, he drives away from the gas station towards Holtzville, and I love that it has like crossed out population 0. So you know it's going to be spooky.
Paige, who the fuck crossed that out and wrote 0? Who did that? What person lives there and cares enough to go do that?
I'm going to say Timmy.
He would have put 1, Paige.
Yeah, he would still live there.
No, because people then would have known he was there instead of allowing him to lay low.
Shit, that actually does sort of make sense. Timmy's smart like that.
Timmy is smart like that.
He made a frisbee that could cut off a head.
We're about to get to it, Todd. We have not even approached his crazy weapons, and I cannot wait to talk about them.
I wrote in my notes, anytime he was on the screen, Kevin Murder Callister. Because that's what he is in this movie.
I mean, he's just Kevin McAllister if he was more successful. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know?
This is what Kevin McAllister would have been if he wasn't a little bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like if he had the balls to kill Joe Pesci.
Yeah, if his family got murdered by zombies in Paris, this is what he would have became.
Yes, if he would have applied himself and put some fucking razor blades in a frisbee. Anyway, we come up to the abandoned town, which basically looks like the town from Children of the Corn. And there's a hot lady bending over looking through a car, and it's Reggie, so he can't help himself. He's got to stop and be like, what are you doing here? And she's like, helping myself because these people left all this stuff here. And of course it's a setup to rob him, because that's what I think these people have been doing in this town for at least a few days, if not longer.
She pulled a real call an ambulance for you vibe. I was like, nice. But yeah, it's fine. Timmy murders her in a second, so it's cool.
I loved it.
She gets tomahawked.
She does get tomahawked in the face, but not before she and her lackeys put Reggie in the trunk. They take his car, and then they drive off in a bomb-ass pink hearse. I love it.
I mean, Prince did die one day, so that probably got some use.
Well, that would have been a purple hearse.
Oh, I thought you said purple. It was pink. You're right. Shit.
It's pink.
Well, Pink's gonna die someday, Paige.
They actually pulled that hearse from that special episode of Power Rangers where the Pink Ranger died.
Oh, I remember that one.
Wait, what?
But it was really wild when the hearse stood up and kicked Rita Repulsa in the tits.
And then she had phantasm orbs inside them.
Yes.
We'll get there. We'll get there in season 4 of the Phantasm or whatever. Rita Repulsa's gonna get horse kicked in the tits and an orb's gonna fly out. And then we're going to have to Megazord together and battle it.
I love it. I love everything you've just said.
Bro, I thought Rita was hot. Did anybody else think Rita was hot?
Gross. Of course I did, Mikey. Of course. I don't want to talk about it.
I was like, oh, punish me.
I mean, I would have been surprised, but I also know how you feel about the Borg Queen, so...
Hot. I like power. I like women in power.
Mikey's got a type. Mikey's got a type.
I want to be taken care of.
All right. I mean, you could have been one of Rita's pets.
Hello.
You could have been Flotsam or Jetsam. Although that's Ursula's pets, right?
Yeah, those are Ursula's eels.
Yeah.
They pull up to a house, which definitely looks like one of the houses from the earlier films. We're not going to address it. But they leave Reggie in the trunk. They go through the house. And at first, one of the guys is like, I'll go around the back. Then the hot lady and her other dude who has a gun and a giant chain with a $sign on it.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like white Mr. T.
Oh.
Like he pities the fool who has a Frisbee full of razor blades.
It looks like the only store that they raided downtown was the Spirit Halloween.
100. And they look through the door and they're like, oh, it's just old people. And instead of like trying the door to see if it was open, like quietly, he just immediately kicks through.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
And he's like, must be deaf. And I was like, ain't enough lack of hearing in the world, man. They would have felt vibrations or something.
Paige, he's an idiot. He gets killed with the Frisbee in a second. Like, he's a dumbass.
I love it. It turns out to be robots, toys, dolls, robots.
No, they're corpse monsters at the end.
No. The old people in the rocking chairs.
Oh, yeah.
Like Halloween 3.
No, it's more like when Kevin McAllister's dancing around his house and like making people think because of the shadows on the windows that people are having a party there. It's more like that.
Well, no, because they're like, actually, there are things sitting in the chairs because they shoot the head off of one of them.
Yeah.
So they're either dolls or bodies or something.
Have you seen Home Alone, Paige?
Yeah, but it's not him. It's like, he's got mannequins like set up.
Have you seen Home Alone, Paige?
Not in years. I'm an adult.
But I'm going to throw out a theory. He never said what he did with his parents' body.
I know. This is what I was thinking, Mikey.
It's clearly a dummy. It's a mannequin. And it's finally time that mannequins got what was coming to them.
Oh, that explains the emotion about this. Okay. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. It's the Manny. It's Manny, the mannequin.
Yeah, I just got shamed for knowing what Home Alone was, I guess.
But like he has the masks on them, but then he's also got the like clown, the knife clown.
The eyes looked real under the masks.
Yeah, but then the knife clown is on the ceiling, so he triggers that, and it like nicks the guy, but like they dodge it, right? And then they run upstairs, and the kid has a mask that looks like the strangers, but then immediately runs through a trap door like it's people under the stairs. I was like, what the fuck? What is happening? But then they grab him, but he's got a tomahawk that looks like a toy till he throws it and catches that lady between the fucking eyes. And it's awesome. She is insta-dead.
Yeah, he straight up murders 3 adults.
Well, he murders her and then they chase him. He ends up outside and he gets away from them and he's like, I'm gonna throw this. And he holds up a Frisbee and it's just got razor blades sticking out of it. And they're like, okay.
And then we all laugh.
Yeah.
Like, that's dumb. They're just gonna shoot you. They have guns. This wouldn't work.
And they could shoot him in self-defense because he's killed one of their party already.
Yes.
Like, I do think
yes.
they would get in trouble, but like...
legally, castle doctrine, stand your ground. I think he would get off on this.
Your Honor, my client had to use the murder Frisbee because they wouldn't leave his property and he felt threatened.
They wouldn't.
And it just so happens that he's a member of the Frisbee Blinders, all right? That's just a coincidence, all right? Your Honor. But that guy had like 15 seconds from the time he threw the Frisbee to the time it came. He could have shot the Frisbee out of the air, Paige.
Yeah.
That's my point. They had plenty of time.
Look, it's fight or flight, and he froze, okay?
He froze.
And the Frisbee did flight.
Yeah, it did fly.
It fly a lot.
It flighted right across his throat. Great effect. Looks really cool.
It does.
And then he like fires twice on his way down, which is great. But then the other guy, who also has a gun, doesn't immediately shoot that kid, who we find out also has had a gun this entire time.
I have a theory on that, Paige.
Ooh, okay.
That man is blind because he falls into the 8 foot by 8 foot by 8 foot deep hole that's right in front of him that he did not see. So he couldn't use the gun.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's insane. There's no tarp in there with him that might have been covering it.
No.
Like, he just fell into that hole.
It's like he triggered a trap door.
It's insane.
Yeah, but this is where it gets cold because he just shoots that man in a pit like a lifeless dog.
Yeah, we don't see it, but that has to be what happened because that guy is dead later.
I'll shoot him, Paige. It's my scavenger. It's like one of those things, right?
Yes, yes.
His name was Old Yell at Her.
Oh.
But yeah, listen, he sounds cold-blooded, but he digs a grave for all of those guys.
Right.
And buries them. He puts a cross on it.
He puts a cross on it, Paige.
Guys,
Yeah.
he's very thoughtful.
He's very thoughtful.
What's concerned me is we only saw him kill 3 people, but there are 5 graves.
Well, it's his family.
Was it?
Is it? I thought he killed more. No, he tells Reggie that he's killed other scavengers.
I think it was other scavengers, yeah.
Oh, no, that's right. It's scavengers. The tall man took his family. It was other scavengers.
Because his family was the mortuary people.
That's right. And they took them, yeah.
So what I don't get is, why not just bury him in the hole you dug that one of them fell and you shot him to death in?
Oh, I like Mikey's explanation of the more bodies you put in it, the shallower that hole becomes. And then you got to dig a whole new hole.
That's his trap pit, Todd.
Logistically, though, he got real lucky that man was blind. Like, no one's going to fall into that open pit.
9 people have fallen.
Here's my follow-up question, because what happens right after this is that Reggie bangs on the trunk and alerts them to his location. And I'm like, if you were in a trunk and you just heard a shootout happen.
That's what woke him up. The when he shot the guy in the pit.
Right.
That's the gunshot that woke him up.
It is.
Right. So you've heard multiple gunshots. Would you tell people where you were?
Yes, because I'm stuck in a trunk that I'm sure can't be opened from the inside.
Reggie is just a genuinely authentic, down-to-earth fella, you know?
I do love that he accurately convinces this child who just murdered 3 people that he's good. He's fine.
He does.
He's like, listen, I realize you just killed all of the adults in the room like you're a badass Peter Pan, but please do not kill me as well.
Well, because that's my concern is you don't know who's shooting who. So you're kind of the Schrodinger's trunk. And if they open it, they might kill you or let you out. And I guess you just have to take that chance because if you couldn't get the trunk open, you just die in the trunk
Right?
unless somebody else comes along.
We don't want Reggie to be dead, G.
Right.
So he's got to get out of the trunk somehow. And plus, he must be writing these at this point, so he's not going to die.
Oh, no, it's still his friend writing them, but he's still not going to die because it's his friend, right? Friends till the end.
Of course. You wouldn't kill Reggie, would you?
No. And I love that he's immediately helping that kid bury people. And he's like, yeah, so your tall man took my family. And I was like, so he just leads with the story about the tall man where he's like, I'm a safe adult. Let me tell you about the tall man. As if that's not an instant red flag. But the kid's like, I know you're tall man. He took my parents. I guess his dad was the sheriff and the tall man killed him. And then his mom caught them trying to steal the body from the grave. And he was there too.
Yeah.
And so it orphaned him. And then they took the whole town and then left. But the thing that is really funny is this at every town they go to for the rest of the movie. They're like, yeah, a couple years ago, they took the whole town. But that supports Mikey's theory of omnipotence for the tall man and multiple tall men working in unison.
Is that not what it is? I mean, I sort of feel like that's what it is.
It's what it is. It's what it says.
Yeah.
That's what this movie has set it up to be. Previous movies were unclear.
Tallman.
But this movie, I think, yes, supports that.
It's tall men.
Tall men. In the first movie, they went town to town to town and they were chasing the tall man.
Yeah.
But they were only just missing him. It wasn't 3 years ago this town folded. It was the same guy town to town to town. This one, I think, sets up a network of tall men working together like the Borg. So
Yeah.
anyway, I do love that they gave him a folded flag. Do they do that for cops?
Yeah, they do it for cops who die. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
They still call it dying in the line of duty. It's
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
So I would assume so, although I don't know.
He could have also served in the military before he became a police officer.
That's
That's true.
Yeah, I went to a funeral of a friend. It was their granddad, and he wasn't still in the army, but they had a bugle corps and everything, and folded up a flag and gave it to his grandma. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
that could be it too. Yeah. Either way, Trump's going to be there to get a photograph.
Oh, I mean, unfortunately. But this kid also now is like, I can totally drive, by the way. I've been teaching myself how to drive. And Reggie's like, nah, no. Oh, nice, but no. But he's like, we gotta plan, and then I've got to probably be moving on. So they spend, it seems like, the night at this house because they get up the next day and the graves are empty. because the air quotes lurkers got them.
Yeah.
And this is where the kid kind of mentions that there are things that have stuck around after the tall man. And I think they're mainly just orbs or people with the orb brains.
Yeah. Or zombies. Yeah. Mhm.
Zombies. So Reggie's going to go to the next town. He's like, I'll take you with me. I'll drop you off. And he's like, no, just let me go with you. And he's like, nah, I can't travel town to town with a kid to kill the tall man. We've done that for 2 movies already. And kids shouldn't be playing with guns, which is a theme in every Phantasm movie. There is a point at which the kid's like, I promise I can use a gun. He's like, kids shouldn't have guns, but all right, here's a gun. Like every time.
He never misses a shot, Paige.
That's true. That kid is eagle eyes.
Yes.
That is young Hawkeye. This is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
He had nothing else to do. This was before the internet.
Yeah.
Let me just look up and see who played that guy. Have you guys ever heard of a guy named Jeremy Renner?
The singer?
I think you mean noted snowplow driver.
He saved that guy. And apparently now he's doing a lot better.
Well, that's what ran him over.
No, I know. He pushed a guy out from in front of it, and that's how it ran him over.
Well, I'm a dick.
But now he's doing a lot better.
Yes, much better.
He's walking around and stuff. Anyway, so they drive, and on their way out of town, they see what appears to basically be an orphanage from the previous town. And he tries to drop that kid off there and give her a bunch of money, but he just hides in the trunk.
I love how like they don't show us what Reggie actually says to the woman while he's giving her money.
Yes.
We get that shot from the kid's perspective while he's like playing with the other kids, and Tim's looking over and sees that exchange of money. And I just wanted to know if it was like Reggie like, I don't know, man, I got like $106. Can I give you $106 and you take
These
this
are all
kid?
singles.
I don't even really know this kid. He's a murderer, though. I watched him murder 3 people in cold blood. So, like, be careful. Yeah, but here's $106.
Yeah.
I love in this world that society is just okay with orphans wandering out of town and you just have to keep them on your farm or whatever.
Well, it seems like everyone else is dead. Like, I do
Right.
think that woman is doing a very nice thing by bringing in these kids whose parents are dead. Or probably Jawood.
Yeah. Well, here's a further question I have about the world, something for us to think about. Because this is a time before the internet, right? It's a time with limited phone use. They basically only encounter the things they drive and see. And everywhere they drive seems to be a fucking desolate landscape. So if Mikey's theory holds true, is this the world after a large-scale alien invasion and they are some of the only survivors and any city they go to is going to be destroyed or has been already destroyed?
I think what you're asking is a philosophical question that I definitely think this movie brings into question, and that is, are the towns being destroyed and then Reggie shows up, or are the towns destroyed because Reggie is there?
That's a good question, because I think they seem to all be destroyed before.
Some of them.
But do they know that he's going to go there, right?
Yeah.
Or are they being destroyed to get Reggie to go there? Because the tall man really just wants a callback.
Yeah, because the only thing Reggie destroys is P-word.
Well, for the tall man.
Yeah.
We don't know what hole. I'm just saying it was definitely the tall man he had sex with.
That's a good question. That wasn't the question I was originally thinking of, but I think if we know that Reggie is, the apple of the tall man's desire, that makes sense. My question was, are there any non-destroyed cities, period?
Yes.
Or is this Mad Max?
Okay, so I think it's early Mad Max. The concept of money is still there.
Sure.
So there's shops and there's an economy and there's other stuff going on. I just think some stuff has broken down because of an alien invasion.
Okay.
I like the early Mad Max that you just said. That kind of makes sense to
The
me.
first movie where there was still police and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's right. There was still police in the first movie, but each movie seems to break down further. Okay, I got you. Because early Mad Max, there are still cops and stuff. Yeah, that's actually a great allegory for this.
Not Home Alone, though.
Home Alone 2. I mean, those cops weren't great either in that one.
That's true. And who's to say what was going on in France at the time could have been invaded by aliens?
Like, Home Alone would have been an Amber Alert today.
Yeah, it would have been. Okay, so Reggie goes to the next, closest cemetery, the Holtzville Cemetery, that has a mortuary in it. It is absolutely the same one we're going to go to 3 different times in 3 different cities for the rest of the movie, but don't worry, it looks fucking cool. It's got all the candles and shit.
Paige, I forgot that they went to 3 different cities in this movie. I thought it was all one city, but you're right.
No.
They do drive to different locations. locations.
Yep.
Oh my God.
But he's literally in the hallway for just a minute until a silver orb comes out, tries to grab him. He runs into two ladies that seem to be, we don't really know why they're there. We'll find out in just a second. But this is Tanisha and Rocky. And they are like, what are you doing here? Where's the townspeople? And he's like, you got to fucking watch out for this orb. And Tanisha's like, I'm not afraid of no orb. Too late. It literally digs into her head and we get the drill with the like spurting blood. And Rocky's like, what the fuck? What is happening? And tries to nunchuck the orb out of the air, but it breaks the nunchucks.
Only really powerful objects can break nunchucks.
Right.
I mean, they're wood, right? Like, well, I guess they're not necessarily always wood, but yeah.
It's the metal chain that breaks too. Like it just, yeah.
Okay, fair, but like it's an orb, guys.
Yeah.
Like it's got a brain in it. It's definitely going to beat a nunchuck.
I mean, yeah. So essentially at this point, the kid shows up, Timmy shows up, shoots the orb. They all run.
So badass.
At which point, because they run out to the car, and Rocky is like, this was my town. I was from here. I'm trying to figure out what happened to everybody. I've got business to take care of. Y'all go ahead and finish fighting the orbs or whatever. But at this point in the movie, aside from meeting Rocky, what did going to this mortuary accomplish? He got no information.
Paige, I literally wrote that in my notes. I literally wrote that because they show up, he walks in, an orb is there, and then he presumably was just going to leave, but then he runs into Rocky and her dead friend.
Right.
And then he just leaves. Like, they don't learn anything there.
They don't learn anything.
He doesn't get a clue to a different location.
Nothing.
They just leave, never come back, and the story just continues to move on.
Yes.
For no reason.
Yes.
That's because Jody knew Tim was there and needed rescuing, and Jody's a good dude.
Tim saved them there, Mikey.
Yeah,
what are
yeah.
you saying?
But that's why. Wait, hold on.
yeah, don't even try it.
Welcome to the conversation. Come on.
Jody. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me try it again.
Let's take it again, guys. Let's take it again. Can we roll that back, babe? Can we roll it back?
Jody wants Reggie to get laid, so he led him to two women.
Okay. And he does show, maybe not a desire, but like he's pretty helpful. He's a pretty good wingman.
Yeah.
Tim.
Tim and Jody, because Jody's banging on the fucking window like, turn right, bro. There's a couple of ladies that way.
There's P word this way.
Yeah, because they hop in the car, they drive away, and they're like, they literally drive for hours before he's like, I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, he's a man, Paige. What are we going to ask for directions?
Paige, Reggie is a man's man, not just the man.
My ponytail is no longer telling me which direction to go.
It only finds water.
But no, the orb then like moves side to side for like where they're supposed to go. And of course it drives them past Rocky, who is hitchhiking, which is literally impossible because they have seemingly driven hours away and she was on foot. So like how, unless they were in circles, how did she get there?
Unless what he was looking for was her.
That's true. And they had driven away and the orb brought them back. That's possible. But I will say that multiple times in this movie, they drive for hours to get to, air quotes, the next town.
Yes.
Literally one town away.
And Tim does say that, like, it's happening all over this county.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to drive across this county?
In the county.
How big is this county?
How big is it?
What are we in Arizona? Is it like half the county desert? You had to drive through it? Like, what are we doing?
And they drive through like multiple different like desert, back farm area, forests. Like it doesn't matter. They're all over the place. But this is where in the car, this is our Terminator moment of them telling Rocky what's up with the tall man. And they're like, he's from another planet. Half the county's been wiped out. And they're like, what's your story? And she's like, well, the army taught me nunchucks.
Paige, does that seem interesting? Like, of course they would learn nunchucks in the army. Like, what do you think? They're trained in all forms of weaponry.
Are they?
No, Mikey, no. I don't think in a world of guns, nunchucks are going to do much on a field of battle.
No, and he's like, you're pretty good with those things. She's like, thanks, the army taught me. And I was like, is this Buster Bluth? I'm like,
Yes.
I got those nunchucks at army, mother. It's crazy.
But it's clear that she like got this role because of her nunchuckery and willingness to be on screen naked with Reggie.
First of all, she's amazing at the nunchucks.
She is really good.
Aided by amazing Foley that I think someone made with their mouth that was just like and it was great.
No notes on the mouth foley. though.
No nuts. No, well,
No
No
nuts
no
either,
nuts.
Paige. No.
Hey-o.
No nuts on that.
no nuts on that. She is also gorgeous.
She's, yeah.
She's very pretty.
She is beautiful. And she's probably the best actress in this movie because she's actually like, nah, I don't really like killing zombies. Nice to meet you, friend, but I'll leave.
She aggressively does not want to fuck Reggie. Like, she friend zones him immediately.
Bean zones.
And I will only allow that she's the best actress in this movie because Reggie is not acting.
Sure, yes.
And then I'll allow that statement because
Yes.
Reggie is also amazing.
yeah. Reggie's just being him.
Well, that's how they write the scripts. They're just like, Reggie, how would you react if you found a pretty woman using nunchucks? Like, what would you say?
Reggie also delivers every line like he's reading it for the first time off a cue card.
I think this is like that jury duty show. They just have Reggie show up and they act around him.
Around.
And they're like, we have all the props and you just do what you would do.
It's like Bowfinger.
Yeah. That's why they all
Yes.
drop from the tree because he shot up and he's like, they got us all. And they fall down.
What was that show, Murderville on
yeah.
Netflix? Yeah.
Oh, Murderville's so great.
That's how they made it. They just like, be yourself, Reggie.
Because sometimes Reggie's like, so they killed your whole family? Wow. Wow. And it's like he's learning information for the first time.
That's how I counsel.
So they filled him with mustard?
Wow. They slipped on mustard? Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That must be scary.
How could you use that word, mustard, be scary?
Mustard be scary.
How could you say that back to them?
It's called active listening.
No, it's called exposure therapy. I'm exposing you to mustard so that you feel better about mustard over time.
Was the mustard acid? I don't remember why did it kill him? Was he allergic to mustard?
It's embalming fluid, I think.
Well, but it's like space embalming fluid, and so we always called it the mustard because there was never any explanation. We figured that they were probably just using mustard.
Yeah. Dijon, because it's a little darker.
Yeah. But it's kind of watery, so I think they watered it down to keep it liquid.
They just use the mustard that comes out the first 2 seconds after you start squirting. Like it's been in the fridge for a while.
Exactly, Michael.
I call that the pre-mustard.
Yeah.
But careful, it can still get you pregnant.
Whoa!
Ew.
Whoa!
Can pre-mustard a whole Otter Pop sleeve. Anyway, they're going to go to the next town of Bolton. Now, I don't know if it is Bolton because Bolton's a real place or if it's Bolton because they are Monty Python fans. Because famously in the Dead Parrot sketch, they're told to go to the next town over, which would be Bolton, but the palindrome of Bolton is not Lob. And it is spelled the same in this movie. It could be either one. Who's to say? But in this movie, Bolton is the home of the Spring Apple Festival and the largest mausoleum in the world.
You know,
World famous.
it's what really put this town on the map.
Yes.
Why did they even name the towns?
I know, right? I mean, because it's fun to name things sometimes.
I guess so.
Do you mean just in the Midwest? Like, why even name the town you live in? Or do you mean in this movie? Like, what are you trying to say?
I think he meant in the movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
like why?
Okay.
Why is
Yeah.
fantastic? We didn't have a town named the first two.
I'm sure we did.
We did. We just never paid attention to them because they were never there for longer than like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And they in that second one, they drive through like 12 towns in the opening alone. And so like, I think we saw the signs for them, but it, you know, like it could just be like, you know, Dickville, Nutsatucky, like whatever. I don't know.
Paige, don't go to Nutsatucky.
Don't go to Nutsatucky.
It gets real aggressive in Nutsatucky.
Especially if you've got an allergy. You want to go to the next town over, D's Nutsatucky.
I don't know, man. Sometimes you need these nuts Kentucky's played with a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, you know. Hey, we should really support and cradle Nutsatucky while we work in the next town over, the Shaft.
Now you're making some sense, Paige.
There we go.
This is a platform I can get behind.
Now I'm just picturing, what's that movie with Mandy Moore?
Saved.
A Walk to Remember.
Where she stands in 2 places at once and it's just the nuts and the shaft.
A Walk to Remember, yeah.
That is a Walk to Remember.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking. It's a walk to remember. Yeah, you're in 2 places at once. You're in Nuts, Kentucky, and Shaft. You're right on the taint of Kentucky.
You got cancer. Oh, sorry. Isn't that what it is in A Walk to Remember? I don't know. We'll watch it when
It is
Krista Maris comes
cancer.
on. Yeah.
It is cancer. Anyway, they stop at a motel. And this guy is like, yeah, you don't want to go to the next town over? Honestly, you probably don't even want to be here at this hotel, but like, or motel, but I'm still here. And I think this glowing cross in the window is going to keep whatever is out there away. So he tells Reggie, do you want twin beds or a single queen? And he's like, Yeah, give me that single queen. And then he has a child sleep outside in the car.
He's a mass murderer.
I would want the kid to sleep in the car too, because that kid kills people.
That's true. That's true. What if there's a Frisbee in the side table instead of a Gideon Bible?
And Reggie got to get his.
Reggie ain't gonna get his. She
No.
is not into it.
If Reggie ain't.
As you will see in the next installment that takes place in 2001, he did it all for the Nookie.
The what?
The Nookie.
The what?
I don't know the other word.
So you can get that cookie. It's terrible music, really.
That's Reggie.
Yeah. So
He's like, sleep in the car. I've got to kill people for some reason.
Yeah.
I do like that he's like really obviously standing behind Rocky. Like when she's like, "Why don't you come in? You can sleep on the floor or whatever." And he's just like, "I'll fucking murder you if you come into this bedroom." and Tim is like, "I'll sleep in the back. It's fine. It's fine." I did like when he walks up to the car and he's like telling Tim, he's like, "Hey, listen, you're gonna have to sleep in the car tonight." And Tim goes, "Well, do you want front seat or back seat?" He's like, "I ain't sleeping in the car, bitch. You're sleeping in the car." Oh, did you have $25? Tim, your ass is in the back seat. I'm in the bed.
Heavy fun uncle energy.
Oh, God. Here's what I'm going to say. Just a pro tip for Reggie for next time. Get the one with the twin beds, because then she'll be like, oh, he not trying to fuck. He's being professional. And then engage her in conversations, because you can still have sex on a twin bed. Then you've got more time to finesse the situation.
That's a real psychology move.
That's what's up.
Here's what I love about having sex in a twin bed. Going back to my twin bed afterwards.
Across on the other side of the room.
Well, that was great. I'm out. See you in the morning.
See you in the morning. You don't have to worry about me hogging the blankets because I got my own bed.
The 50s had it right.
Honestly, though,
Paige, no.
sometimes it's kind of nice.
No. Literal sit-ins happened because the 50s didn't have it right.
Oh, no, I mean, not for everything. I just meant sometimes it's nice to have a separate bed.
Even a broken clock is right twice a thing.
Day. It's a day, Mikey.
Win in Rome, Todd.
Did you catch what killed the town? That they think killed the town?
Wasn't it tall men?
We know that it is, but that's not the story the town has.
Oh, was it COVID?
The guy in the motel said anthrax.
The band?
Yes. I have to imagine that they could not hang with such deep bass. No, I think the powder, I don't know. But they said he's like an anthrax plague a few years ago.
A few years ago? The plague happened years ago. The town's dead, and you're still running a motel, sir?
Yes! That cross gonna keep me safe from the anthrax. Did I mention they taught me nunchucks in the army?
What branch? That would be my next question.
What branch?
Like,
The
what?
ninjas.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Mikey, I have to inform you about a dumb belief that I had held for many years that I have now, as a result, found out that many of our listeners also shared. And I am curious if you were aware of this beforehand. Did you know SEAL Team 6 isn't just 6 people?
Yes, Paige.
That is exactly how I reacted to that, Mikey. That was exactly how I reacted to it.
And yet, we polled at the Cult Podcast live show. I've had many people DM me. So many people thought it was 6 people.
Mikey, you know what's so funny? It was like 90% of the women and 2% of the dudes that didn't know.
That checks out.
Like almost every dude was like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
It's more than 6 people.
Didn't they make that big movie about killing Osama bin Laden where like 20 of them land to kill him?
So, I never fucking saw that movie.
It's got Chris Pratt.
Yeah, but there's like 6 main guys in it. And that's like, there's other guys in the background, but we only follow like 6 of them.
Paige, you're only following the dudes named Chris.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, I got a fun fact for you. Did you know that there's not 6 SEAL teams?
So somebody brought this up at the live show.
Yeah.
So like when I was like, did everyone think SEAL Team 6 had 6 people? It was an alarming amount of people. And then a guy like dead center in the middle was just like, there ain't actually 6 SEAL teams, right? And we were like, what? Like brain explode. We did not know that.
It's really SEAL Team 4.5
Inches.
That's what.
Yeah.
Average. It's an average number of SEAL teams.
Yeah, it's a decent sized SEAL team, Paige.
They've got good girth.
It's a really wide SEAL team.
Anyway, I thought you might enjoy that. And so that's why when it's like, what branch of the army teaches nunchucks? Who's to say?
Probably the Air Force. They're like, you
Coast
got
Guard.
enough time. Yeah.
This is a very niche joke, but like I'm pretty sure she was one of the silent helicopters that flew them in. She was just spinning the nunchucks really fast. They did use stealth helicopters. I'm not making that up. We crashed one. They had to blow it up because they were afraid that they would be able to reverse engineer how we did it stealthily.
Yeah. What was that? Jessica Chastain is in it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Ooh.
I think it's called Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, Zero Dark 30.
Yeah.
It was not bad if you like hyper patriotic stuff.
I don't. I genuinely don't. But and it's my least favorite Chris too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
He deluded himself to the point
Yeah.
of just
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, it's only six people, and they did the ultimate patriotic act for our country.
Well, I'm going to tell you something else, Paige.
Huh.
They're not even SEALs. They are humans.
What?
What?
Hang on.
Shut the fuck up!
I thought they were SEAls. That's how they got in. They talked past the guards by being like, "What are you doing here?" And they were like, and they were like, "All right, you're good. You're good. You're in."
I was like, they don't even have thumbs. How did they fly the helicopters?
Flappers up. You know what I'm saying?
They're
Flappers.
just bouncing bullets off their noses into people.
Mikey, when they landed, he goes, "Flappers up. No English."
The Call of Duty joke for everyone.
That's for you, Mikey, because I knew you'd get it.
That's for me. Did you know that they're adding the clown from Terrifier into Call of Duty?
No. Why? No, I did not know that.
Did he learn chainsaw at Army?
He has, in the trailer, he has like a gun. He's like, like Call of Duty.
Why?
I don't know. He doesn't talk much. So I guess it's a really cheap DLC.
Yeah, that's fair. Anytime someone turns to talk to him, all the conversation selections are empty, but you still have to pick A, B, C, or D.
This is why I'm glad I'm on this podcast, because I really need to talk about this today. In that game, and Todd, you'll be, you and Paige both, you ping in that game. Like you ping to point out enemies and
Yes.
objects and things. Like
Yeah.
he is a non-verbal clown monster. What is he going to say when we see enemies over there?
I feel like that's the only option.
I guess DLC stands for downloadable clown.
I love that. I love that joke.
I could tell by the way you laughed at it.
Yeah, no, we were just impressed.
Yeah.
Frankly, I was like, that's right.
It was a clinical joke, like really by the book, that like it was like textbook.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel like he's going to turn every battle into a dark carnival. That's a Juggalo joke.
Oh yeah. If he said whoop whoop.
Yeah.
I'd buy Juggalo DLC. It'd bring me back to the game.
We made Fago Jello shots for the Cult Podcast live show, and they were
Nice.
way better than they had any right to be. The red ones were really good.
Red Fago's not bad. I'm just saying.
to the point where I'm going to use that same recipe, and I got Petri dishes for my Halloween party to make thing Jello shots.
Yeah.
Of blood tests.
I'm excited about that.
Gonna be dope. Anyway, so they climb into bed. He is touching her too much and not taking no for an answer. And so she handcuffs him to the bed.
He just goes to sleep. That's how he prefers to sleep. He just needed to.
Like a bat.
Paige, the night terrors are so great that Reggie needs to be strapped down. Like it's bad. He's seen a lot of shit in his past 10-year career of killing tall men. Killing and betting tall men, I should say.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. And it seems like we get up the next day. His arms aren't sore at all, apparently. And they drive to the next town, but it takes them all day to get there because they don't get there until night. And then there's people that they're like grave diggers, who I assume are Jawas.
Yeah.
Who try to attack them.
Lurkers, gravedigger. They need a specific name. We need
A glossary, yes.
Yeah.
But then they end up camping that night because they end up kind of out in like the forest. And he's like, the best way to keep two bodies warm is in a bag. And she's like, dream on. Although later we will see that she has Timmy. And she was like keeping Timmy warm when he wakes up later. So
Yeah.
he extra didn't get what he wanted.
No, he did not. But I think this is where we get that dream, though, right? Where he's like
This is-
having sex with her, and then Jody is also there.
Yeah.
And he's not like, gross, what are you doing here, Jody? He's like, hey, Jody, hang on a second, let me finish.
High
like,
fives.
Yeah, he's like, he's like cucking Jody in the scene a little bit. It's weird.
Because the way it happens, where the orb is like, it like is floating near him and like in the bag, I was like, is he gonna fuck the orb? And I was like, can an orb be fucked? Is it like a fleshlight, but it's an orb? And then we get into the dream that is very clearly a dream. But again, yes, Jody is in like cuck position. It's just like, hey, can you stop having sex with her? We really got to talk. He's like, hold on. He's like, I need you to get behind me on this. I'm sorry. Get behind what I'm saying. I mean, you're not.
Yeah, Jody's so into the moment of him railing Rocky from behind that he's like, saying the wrong thing. Like it's slipping out.
Yeah.
Is this a dream or are they really railing?
No, this is a dream, especially because it's in the hotel room that they left. So like they're outside. So it is fully a dream. But he's like, oh, there's like a doorway. He's like, come on, we got to make this quick. So she disappears. And then the orb is like blue light. And there's like a blue doorway and then green light and a green doorway, like the Matrix.
Lasers, yeah.
And then they go in, and it's red light, and it's the old man. And their tall man walks up to a wall where Mike is in prison and is like, you know a way out. Use your brain, boy. And I was like, what does this even mean? Who's to say? But they use the laser to break Mike out. And they're like, come on, we got to get through the pylons. And they grab him and run. But when they get back to the campsite, they have brought Mike through that dimension into their dimension.
And there's pylons there at the campsite.
Yeah. And then the orb is still red because Jody's like, I'm sorry, he tracked the orb. He's trying to like force me to let him through. And he's like, Reggie, you've done it before. Close the pylons. And so Reggie goes over and closes the pylons. But it severed one of the tall man's.
Both.
One tall man, two hands.
Yes. Yeah.
Severed. And they immediately go full Evil Dead where the wrist parts get teeth and they're like running around. One of them's picking Reggie's nose. They're filled with mustard.
It's real deep, though. Like, it's real deep.
Yeah, it's real deep. It's like, what was that one? Deadstream.
Oh.
Yeah. I love that movie.
But yeah, they like, it's about to bite his dick because it goes like up one leg of his pants and then Rocky stabs it. And he was like, oh God, so close. And she was like, close to what? I was just like, man, I fucking love Rocky. Rocky's the best. But at this point, Mike is like, just leave me behind. He'll always follow. He has to, like, he's coming for me no matter what. And he's like, never. But who should show up as they're driving to whatever the next town is, because they're trying to find that big mausoleum town, but the pink hearse. And there's like a wild car chase where the pink hearse crashes and explodes.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, they work for the tall man, but now both of our front tires are blown out. The car won't run anymore. We got to walk on foot. We got to find that big mortuary because it's the last place he'd look. And I'm like, I don't follow that logic, but okay. I realize that that's where the script wants us to go. And so we're going to go. They get to the mortuary and they're like, this is perfect. And I was like, yeah, because this is exactly the kind of place the tall man lives every time.
I know. Like, why did they go there?
Because it's the last place he'd look.
Paige. It's so dumb. The last place he would look because he's walking around the halls. Like, he's there. Like, that's his house.
I hate that phrase because when you're looking for stuff, it's always in the last place you look because you find
why would you keep looking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. They do find a bunch of cryo tanks, and this is where we get the 3-second pull from the previous one, where he's like, he doesn't like the cold. Even in that scene they show us, it doesn't show us that.
It doesn't say that. He doesn't even have a mean face. He's like a normal tall man.
Yeah. But at this point, they decide to split up. Reggie is going to take the first watch. Mike is going to go commune with the orb. And then Rocky and Timmy are going to kind of find some food and set up camp.
Yeah. I love how they cook that food.
I do too. In the crematorium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is the part where I started to get kind of frustrated. Still great. But this is where Mike is like, tell me everything. Like, tell us how to beat him. And the orb is like, well, he's from another planet. And when they move people to the other planet, it makes them dwarf. And I was like, we know all of this.
I like a recap.
I guess. That's sure.
I could have used a repipe.
How does the Force work? They tell me every time.
That's fair.
They don't tell you. They just say a made-up word, and you're like, oh, yeah, midi-chlorians. That makes sense.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's learning about the mustard, even though we know he learned it in the last movie, but fine. Meanwhile, Timmy goes in and finds like a walk-in freezer and that there's frozen bodies in there. Reggie, who's supposed to be keeping watch, is napping, and we start to hear some telltale signs of oral copulation.
So do you think she was actually sucking on Reggie's member?
100?
I think so.
You can't say no to the Reg head.
I mean, Rocky's been saying no to it this whole movie, so you can say no, but
you can say no.
This lady is dead, so maybe he does have some power over dead people.
Ooh, see, that'd be a fascinating turn.
Would you have sex with the undead if they weren't like zombies, if they're like conscious and they wanted to have sex.
No, it's the decaying body I would not want to have sex with.
But they got mustard with them.
Are you trying to entice me or gross me out?
I was going to say, for the amount of vampire literature I am a fan of, yeah, I think if they looked like Alexander Skarsgård or Joe Manganiello, yeah, I would.
Okay.
But not if they didn't.
But they're decaying. Their body they're a zombie.
She's talking about vampires.
No, you just said undead.
Yeah,
you did not specify what kind.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I would smash, like, Natalie vampire? Yeah, I'd smash that. Natalie zombie? No.
Would you smash Tall Man if he was really hot like he's done with Reggie a couple times?
Would I have sex with the tall man? No.
No, but if he appeared to you like a hot redhead in a graveyard.
If the tall man showed up as Natalie, yeah, I would. Probably, yeah.
You're such a Reggie.
I mean, technically, it's my wife at that point.
I totally would too. I'm not shaming you. I take one of those spheres for home that could just make a body all the time. Yeah.
Better question.
Okay.
He reveals himself to be the tall man 3/4 of the way through. Do you finish?
Does he turn back or stay as the tall man form?
Is it Natalie leaning down and being like, by the way, I'm the tall man? Or does it just become the tall man and now I'm just pounding the tall man?
Yeah, I have that question.
I mean, in the first movie, it became the tall man, which is what I was thinking of.
It did become the tall man
He did
while
become the
he
tall
was
man.
inside it, which made me question a lot.
Yeah, if you're at vinegar strokes level, do you finish?
Well, vinegar strokes level, you can't stop. That's why they're called the vinegar strokes. So yes, of course.
I'm going to whisper into the next girl's ear I have sex with. Are you the tall man?
You have to tell me. It's a law.
It's a lot.
You have to tell me if you're the tall man. Oh, God.
God damn it. I'm funny as fuck.
Anyway, it's not Rocky, of course, because Rocky has no interest in Reggie's altogether. And in fact, it is the lady from earlier, the zombie lady, that should have died in that pink hearse, but did not. And she just says, I just want to taste before I eat, implying that she's going to eat him as a zombie. But he screams and shoots, and she goes down momentarily. She will be back in just a moment.
It's what she's best at.
Yeah.
Going down, Todd.
No, I got it. Yeah, no, I got the reference. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a blowjob joke, guys.
It is. But who should show up? But Rocky with the nunchucks. Let's fucking go. Timmy is shooting at people, and the bullets do nothing. And then she comes up and nunchucks, and it works instead of bullets.
Honestly, thank God she showed up with her nunchucks.
Yeah.
I think it's because the adults replaced his bullets with blanks while he was sleeping.
No, we see the bullets go through that zombie's brain.
It's true.
Let's just be honest. Most of the guns Reggie's got have probably been shooting blanks for a while, just age-wise.
Dang.
Well, this is Tim who shot it. Tim's a child.
I know, but it was probably Reggie's gun.
It wasn't. It was Tim's gun.
Tim's got a gun.
Paige, I wish it had been. Like, I don't think Tim should have had a gun nor been this good at it.
I know.
But Tim has killed more people in this franchise than Reggie at this point.
I
And
know.
he's brand new and 12.
Yes.
But you know what? Reggie smashed a lot of people.
He smashed a lot of tall men.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the tall man every time.
I don't think he's had sex with any people. I think he's had sex with an interdimensional alien.
Is he still a virgin then?
Virginity is a social construct, Todd.
So, yes.
And Mikey, sorry,
yes.
not Todd knows this. Mikey, yes. So, because here's the thing, sex takes many different forms. And maybe it's penetrative sex like people are used to, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's in a graveyard with someone who turns into a completely different person at the vinegar stroke.
Yeah, those are the many different forms sex takes. It's either a hot, younger lady or a tall man that she changes into throughout sex.
Right.
That's how you know you're doing a good job, Mikey, when she shows you her true form.
Yes.
Yeah, you know who this movie offends though? Short kings.
Because they're not the tall man. I think Reggie's a short king.
Reggie is a short king, yes. Whenever
he a
he's
short
standing
king?
next to Mike, he's up to his shoulders, guys. And Mike isn't the tall man.
Yeah.
Reggie's like 5'2" on a good day.
No, I think he's taller than that, but probably not. But I don't know. I can check, but I'm not gonna because, we're already at 2 hours.
Say the thing. Boy.
So his Wikipedia lies and says he's 5'8".
I mean, I'm still going to call that short king.
I think technically it's 5'7". I got in trouble for referring to myself as a short king. I'm 5'9" technically, but
5'9" is way average. It's just way average.
I agree it's way average. I thought it was I thought I could call myself a short king, but I cannot. apparently. I kept getting corrected.
So what kind of king do we think Reggie is then? A mid-king?
He's a bed skirt king.
He's the king of the shotguns.
Yes.
He does have 4 of them duct taped together, more or less.
He's a quad king, which he never, he fires it like one other time in this movie. And I have to think it's just because it's a bitch to load.
You can tell it's heavy too. Like he's struggling to like lug it around.
Ugh.
He's real quick to set it down in danger. He's like, I can't fucking hold this gun anymore. It's so heavy.
Anyway, Mike, who was like communing with the orb, wakes up to find out he's been strapped down because Jody tried to show him the like they put the brain in the orb, and he looked up and there were tons of orbs all over the ceiling, and he was like, oh my God, no. And then when he wakes up, he's strapped down, and the tall man is just like, you're finally back where you started. Your journey is complete, which does support Mikey's narrative that perhaps there's been an orb for quite some time. But they also have captured Timmy in the melee with the nunchucks, and they brought him in ostensibly to make him orbed as well. But Mike says to Timmy, don't believe anything he says. There are thousands of them. Tell Reggie. And like, meanwhile, we cut to Reggie is running through the hallways, and the lady from the pink hearse shows up. He's fighting her. He's not winning. He's doing bad. And this is where Rocky shows up with the nunchucks, and she just goes, bitch, hands off my boy, which is not an indication of any sort of romantic connection. I think she meant boy as friend.
She definitely makes that clear at the end. Yeah.
That's right.
When she begrudgingly hugs him.
Begrudgingly hugs him.
Yeah, she would have said, man, hands off my man.
Right.
I think she was talking about Tim. She's probably like, don't kill that child. You can fucking murder Reggie, though. That guy's a sex pest.
What up, girl?
Well, it's the only reason I know it's Reggie is because this is where Tim has already been captured, and so it's just her and Reggie.
Yeah, you're right.
But she does like chest kick that lady through a window, which is great.
I can't believe she's fiend-zoming him during the rescue.
Yeah.
I've come for my friend. He is just my friend. We have never had feelings other than friend-like feelings. Please release him.
Is that because she's trying to fuck the tall man? Hang on. Is she into the tall man? And she's like, well, listen, Reggie's just my friend.
Look, the tall man can become whoever you want.
It's like Mystique. We've talked about this before. Like,
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Now, there is an orb in play, so they're also trying to fight an orb, and Reggie finds a plunger, and he gets the orb stuck on the plunger, but then it's got saws on the side, and is trying to fight them, and they're all trying to kind of like move around it, right?
The Foley work when the orb hits the suction cup and gets stuck is hilarious.
Oscar worthy.
So good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the room where the tall man is going to try and turn Mike into an orb.
Or already has.
By
the way, he has like this whole laboratory set up. The tall man does, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I want to remind you, this is where Reggie, Rocky, and Tim were like, let's go hide there. It's the last place he'll look.
Yes.
The tall man has a laboratory set up at a place they went to go hide because it's the last place. It's insane. It's insane that he's there.
It's madness, and the Jody orb is the Mary Sue of this movie because it's wherever it needs to be at any time that it needs to be with all of the skills that it needs. So it has its own saw, which cuts through Timmy's restraints, freeing Timmy so that he can go figure out what to do and come back. So he joins the fight with the plunger orb. They end up dumping that orb into the cryo thing to like freeze it. But also another orb comes flying out and goes straight through the hearse lady's head.
Oh man, that shot was amazing.
Yeah.
It is a perfect circle, like Judith right through her head. It's amazing.
Yes. And then immediately after that, they hit like the other guy, the guy with the chains in the head with another orb, and it just shoots upward, ripping his head off.
Yeah.
It spins it around first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
does.
spins it around.
This is literally Jody 1 Kenobi, like fighting as an orb. It's awesome.
It's great.
It's awesome. And then they also get the last guy where they drill his brain too.
Yeah.
But they pin that one orb in the freezer. They try to go rescue Mike. He might already be mustard. So they get what looks to be a harpoon, but I think is the hook for pulling people in and out of the crematorium because they used it on the like cauldron earlier.
I just don't think modern crematoriums have you hook the body in to pull it in and out.
I think you hook the shelf. The shelf
Oh,
rolls.
okay.
Yeah.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
I think you use similar tools for like a kiln and stuff too, although I don't know, but like, yeah.
You can get them for your home oven also. If you're like super into bread and you have a big oven or you try to load your oven up, you can actually get things that hook into the back shelf of your oven to pull it out.
But it looks like a jack javelin.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, your home oven wouldn't be that big, but this one looks like a javelin. It looks like a harpoon, and they freeze it in that like walk-in freezer, which would have taken a long time. But they do it as if it takes, well, no, and they stick it in the cryo thing probably, huh?
They stick it in the cryo thing for like 3 seconds
Yeah.
and it's frozen shut. Yeah.
But again, he's not allergic to cold. He just doesn't like it.
He just doesn't like it.
That's like if someone attacked me with
Lisa Frankenstein?
Yeah, they threw Lisa Frankenstein Blu-rays at me. It hurt though.
No, what's the thing you don't like? The ingredient.
The one ingredient, it's water chestnuts. I hate water chestnuts.
That's right. I forgot that you have a strangely strong opinion about water chestnuts.
I don't like them. I'm not allergic. They can't hurt me. I just don't like them.
Mikey, are you saying this for us or for you?
Oh, both. I would so like if someone attacks me with water chestnuts, I'd be like, I don't like these. And like that's his feelings on cold.
For the record, I like spaghetti. I wouldn't like to be attacked with spaghetti. Like I don't like
I mean, it's kind of like if somebody attacked me with cilantro. It's not going to kill me, but I'm going to be like, soapy.
I'm gonna bring a pocket full of water chestnuts the next time we're together, and then just gonna be throwing water chestnuts at you the whole time.
It's like if somebody attacked Todd with a thing where you had to picture something in your mind.
I'd never gonna cross that troll bridge, Paige.
Never.
Todd would just be gagging noises that we sent his way. Bleh,
Oh,
bleh.
please don't. Oh God, please don't. Oh.
No, we can't do this. We can't. Anyway, so they harpoon the tall man, and Mike sits up and he's just like, but his head is all fucked up because he's probably already full of fucking mustard. And he kind of like opens a flap in his head to find an orb, and he's like, no. Reggie runs and is like sliding out of the way of the orb. They're like fighting the orb. But meanwhile, Jody Orb like astral projects to Mike and is like, Mike, it's time. And Mike turns around. He's got orb eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a cool effect.
It is a cool effect.
He's got Orby eyes.
One look at orbs and I slice your thighs. I've got
Orby eyes.
All right, well, I'm out.
That just makes it sound like it's Orbeez. Like, you know those little things you add water to and they get bigger?
Come on down to Orbeez. We've got the orb.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Tall man's the manager.
Yeah.
Everything's served through a tuning fork portal.
It's just horsey sauce.
Maybe it's the cheddar from the Arby's, the Orbeez.
Maybe.
That's not mustard, it's cheddar.
Or horsey sauce. Or also mustard. It could still be mustard.
I fucking love horsey sauce.
I mean, would you want to be filled with horsey sauce while your brain becomes an orb?
That's what I say to the ladies. That's how you make a baby, Todd.
I mean, you'd know.
So once a month, a lady's eggs send an orb through the tubes.
What is an egg if not an orb of life, Paige?
Hey, you won't catch me disagreeing with you.
The phantasm's deep, man.
Anyway, Mike runs out into the graveyard fully orbed. And Reggie's like, what's going on? And Jody, the astral projection of Jody, is like, don't believe everything you see. Seeing is easy. Understanding takes more time. And I'm like, the fuck does this mean?
It literally means, I know this was crazy for your eyes, but please come see the next movie and we'll do our best to explain some of this.
I promise.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rocky pulls up in a hearse and is like, hope you guys have fun fighting zombies. And Reggie's like, can I get a hug? And she's like, ugh, fine.
She does begrudgingly side hug him.
Yeah.
She's definitely not going to put both on him. That's all I'm saying.
No.
She gives him a side hug.
Side hug. Meanwhile, Reggie is like, let's go back in and look for clues. I was like, y'all didn't kill anybody. Like, there's still people who are after you in that building. He's like, look for clues. And they find the cold door. They find the pylons. He's like, oh no, the cryo chamber's knocked over.
I love how they were just the heads that were in there.
Yes.
They're like severed heads on the floor, but those people actually paid to have their head cut off and put in there.
Right.
That's like a thing.
They got the Walt Disney treatment.
Yeah.
Which is in my will.
Do we get to eat your body?
Well, I want to go out like how I lived, giving head.
Ladies.
to the tall man in a graveyard.
Icy, cold, disliked head.
Still head though, so it's probably great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, as Timmy goes to check it out, Reggie gets pinned by all the orbs behind the door. And Timmy's like, no. And he's got the gun. And he's like, Reggie's like, don't run. It's all over.
Yeah, don't shoot the orbs because you'll definitely shoot me.
Right,
Yeah.
Pause. those orbs who are all tall men.
Yes.
Or all converted people.
No, I think this was all the thousands of tall men he was talking about.
Okay.
And that's why they were sexually just rubbing all up on Reggie.
They weren't stabbing him, and they do have stabbies, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
They have him pinned, but they're not hurting him.
And they're just rolling around on him suggestively, like a massage chair.
He's getting a chest massage. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
he's on an orb masseuse.
And then what happens? Tall man sends someone to get the kid out of the room so they can play.
Well, and then Tall Man is just like, it's never over. I wrote you for a year. It wasn't over for me. It's never over.
Welcome to my mortuary of pain. Well, now we're in a Hellraiser sequel.
He smashes through a window behind Timmy that was not there. There were no windows.
Paige, that's the formula. That happens in every one of them.
I know. It was just really fun. They didn't even have him stand near one. They were just, nope. Now there's a window.
And that's
the
the movie. So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what do you guys think about Phantasm III, Lord of the Dead?
Definitely the best so far.
Best produced, yes. It's a wild ride. Is it a good movie? No. It's fun to watch, though.
Yes.
It's so much fun. Mikey, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah. So if you're looking to hook up with me, just like reach out to my you about the movie?
Yes.
Is it going that badly? You quit the podcast to date more, and you're now coming on to solicit dates?
Is that a rule?
No. I think you should do it more often. Like, why quit?
Sure.
Like, why?
Sure. I can hear what you're saying. I have a final thought. This is an episode where we never talked about Todd's brother, and
Well, now we did. Thanks a lot.
And it's a franchise that started with a long conversation because his brother died.
Oh, that's right. In a car accident, too.
I forgot that this franchise starts off very triggering for me.
But look what they've made beauty out of death. And I love this franchise. Like I said, I love the franchise.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
great.
that it's a continuous story that they just yes and the script, which they have no plan, but they do a better job than the sequel Star Wars trilogy.
I mean, yeah. That's because one person is like creating this universe.
Yeah.
We're not getting three distinct creatives that I think probably secretly hate each other, who like were writing at each other into corners just to be a dick.
Yeah. If modern directors had as much love for Star Wars as these people have for their love for Reggie, we would live in a better world. And that's my final thought.
I also think we need more movie stars like Reggie.
Yes. Just normal dudes.
Yeah. Or like normal looking people who like aren't great at acting, but like they can carry a quad shotgun. And that is the end of the requirements for his role.
Yep.
I also just love the silliness of it. It's a lot of fun to watch. But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Phantasm,
Reggie,
fun facts. All right, so in this sequel, for the first and only time in the series, so it does not happen in the subsequent films at all, the main characters refer to the dwarves as lurkers and spheres as sentinels. That is unique to this one.
They never do it again?
They never do it again.
Oh my God.
There is an alternative ending.
Oh, tell us more.
That was filmed but not used. In the alternative ending, Reggie and Tim don't go back to look for clues. They, in fact, escape after killing, or they believe killing, the tall man. Now, within this alternate ending, it's established that the tall man has a gold sphere. So he is different from all the other chrome spheres, right?
I actually kind of like that, because then it does feel like Reggie is fucking him specifically.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
a thing they've got going on.
Well, what happens is Reggie and Tim take that gold sphere to the wild regions of Alaska. They dig a hole and they place a little case containing the gold sphere inside the hole and bury it. Reggie puts a metal plaque over the hole and seals it up. The plaque reads, "Here lies the tall man, R.I.P." Reggie then says, quote, "Now all we have to worry about is global warming," and they walk off.
I love that ending.
But that would have ended the series. So, I mean, if you're going to have more.
There's no way it would have ended the series. Are you kidding me?
That's true. They would have brought him back.
I just buried the ball in a regular ground.
The ball can fly. You don't think the ball can dig?
That's fair.
The balls could pop out legit eyeballs.
I mean, it would be hilarious if they started for like the G4 summit and are like, global warming is a huge part of our, like a huge problem. It's like Greta Thunberg, like introducing
You
it.
may know me as Reggie, the man who defeated the alien invasion on Earth. I'd like to talk to you about an issue really close to my heart today.
I'd like to introduce Al Gore, everybody, to talk to you about an inconvenient truth.
An inconvenient truth. The tall man's back. It's pretty inconvenient, but it is true. Now, Universal, when they were distributing this movie, and we'll get into more of how this got distributed in just a second, they changed the title from Phantasm III to Phantasm: Lord of the Dead for a theatrical test release because they felt like the general public had completely forgotten about the franchise and therefore
That's fair.
would not come to see it if they knew it was part of a continuing series, which is also probably why they repipe they're dwarves and the gravity and whatever, because Universal, I think, wanted this to be like you could come into this as your first Phantasm, which is crazy.
They repipe in the first sequel, too, in the second one.
They do it every time, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of the formula for these movies.
It is. Now, okay, here's the weirder part, right? So after not great box office results for Phantasm 2, shocker, Universal Studios chose not to finance an additional sequel, but they did offer a contract where they would distribute it if Don Coscarelli and his team made the movie themselves, which to me begs the question, how did they get more money to do this one or do it right? And maybe it was because they weren't constrained, but because they weren't working with Universal anymore, they had no casting restrictions. So they offered the role of Mike to the original performer, A. Michael Baldwin, who returned to the role after 16 years. So he played Mike in 1, but not in 2. 2 is a completely different guy.
Well, I think it's a kid, right? Like
2 is just a different actor.
Well, I know, but he's also like a child too. Like I think when he first played him, he was a kid, and then when he came back, he was an adult, right? So the one they replaced him with was a kid.
No, he was still like 20 in the second one because it's a 10-year time jump from 1 to 2. But there was like a contract dispute, so this guy wasn't in it, but he is on like the DVD commentary or something on one of the special editions and refuses to address the second movie because he thought it was terrible because he wasn't in it. We covered this on Fun Facts last time. That's the only reason I remember.
Oh, wow.
Yes, but there is like a thing. And so they went back to the original actor. Now, Don Coscarelli has admitted that during filming, he had run out of ideas after finishing the script for this sequel and had no clue which direction the story would take in case there was a fourth. And he jokingly commented that if Phantasm 4 was ever filmed, it would actually be, quote, just to make money out of it, which was crazy because none of these movies have ever really made that much money.
I also think it's crazy because he said he ran out of ideas, but clearly has only had one idea because they're all the same movie.
They're all the same movie. Now, something that I do think is really cool, especially if you listen to our Fall Guy episode on Romancing the Pod, is that the hearse stunt is actually an incredibly difficult stunt. It was done by a stuntman named Bob Ivy. And Bob Ivy used a 7-foot tall pipe ramp to get the massive hearse airborne, and it traveled over 160 feet through the air. Yes.
That's crazy. I mean, it does look great. Like, it really does.
It looks great. And because the stunt was so difficult, he was gifted by production his own chrome orb. And he also would go on to play a character in Phantasm 4 Oblivion called Demon Trooper.
Oh my God, I can't wait till 4. What?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Demon Trooper.
Can't wait.
And then he would also go on to be in Bubba Hotep in 2002.
Oh, he was the one wearing the t-shirt that said, I flipped this hearse and all I got was this lousy silver orb?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
To reduce costs, they reused the score from the last movie.
Didn't
just
notice.
Clipped it to didn't notice. Never noticed. So production wrapped in 1993 and distribution was put on a hold by Universal for almost a year. They were contractually obligated to distribute it, but there were no stipulations on how. So they actually debated heavily whether it would have a theatrical release, then go to video, or if it would just be straight to video. It did get a very limited theatrical release in 1994, specifically in Japan.
Yeah.
With some festival screenings in North America, Belgium, and Argentina, but then the movie went straight to video in 1995. Reggie is the only cast member to be present on set every single day of principal photography, either acting or helping behind the camera, because you might not have remembered, but Reggie in all of these movies has also been part of the crew. Good for him. Don Coscarelli has revealed that the character of Rocky was inspired by characters featured in Joe R. Lansdale's stories, which is an author that Jake loves reading. Big fan. But Don Coscarelli said that he had started reading those books during the time he was writing the script for this sequel, and so that's why he incorporated Rocky, which is pretty fun. So, the dream sequence where Reggie and Jody rescue Mike from the tall man's lair, which starts as a dream but then becomes reality, is the first time that all 4 main actors in the series, Michael, Reggie, Bill, and Angus, because Bill was also, I guess, Jody somewhere else, they're all reunited again on screen after 15 years. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All of the interiors for all the mausoleums were shot at a real mausoleum called Angelus Abbey Mausoleum in Compton, California. It's actually very famous. It's been in a number of other movies, and it is very pretty on the inside.
It's the biggest mausoleum in the world.
With the worst reputation.
Oh my God. When you walked in the morgue, I could see you were a zombie worth fucking a real sweet Reggie.
Zombie. This was shot in 45 days.
That's longer than I would have thought, honestly.
That is longer than I thought too. Yeah. If you had said 22, I would have been like, great job. Almost all of the Silver Sphere effects were done in camera. That has been the case in all Phantasm movies, and they look really cool every time.
They do a good job.
So this is the first of the series to feature a hemi-CUDA, as denoted by the hood of the car. The prior 2 CUDAs were 340s. So I guess maybe they didn't have the original CUDAs? Not sure. The inclusion of Tim's character was intended as an homage to young Mike in Phantasm, or just doing the same story over again and hiring a different actor.
It's literally just the same story over again. It's
Yeah,
Menudo. They Menudo'd Mike and turned him into a Tim. Yeah.
So this was the very first usage of any digital effects in the series, and they're all around Jody's interactions with the spheres. So that and creating an event horizon for the space gate.
Yeah.
Where he could reach through and whatever.
Yeah, I think they did it with forced perspective last time.
Yeah.
And it looks good in this movie. Like, it doesn't look bad.
Yep.
It's just the first time they've done it this way.
Yes. Now, during the end credits, I'll leave you guys on this fun fact. It's my favorite. The final paragraph of the end credits says that the motion picture is protected, but also states that if you break these laws, you will incur the wrath of the tall man. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. And by a little bit, I mean, I only have what they think the budget was. Like, there's not a lot of records for this movie. As Paige said, I found no reliable sources for how much money it made in Japan.
You think this was like a money laundering type situation?
Oh, I definitely think it could be.
It could be.
Who knows? But what do you think the production budget was for this movie?
1990.
94.
Well, filmed in 93 because they got put off on distribution by a year. So when they're filming it, it's 93.
Okay.
I think they really lucked out with that location in Compton, which probably didn't cost them that much because it's outside of Hollywood proper, but they use it a lot and it's all that one location, and I don't think they set dress it much. So I'm actually going to say that this costs somewhere between $3 to $5 million.
Okay. Mikey, what do you think it costs?
I'm going to say 8.
Guys, I can't believe it's $2.5 million is what it costs to make this movie.
Oh,
Which
shit.
is a lot. Like, that's a lot for a Phantasm movie, guys.
Yes.
And I say that, and I just looked up how much the second Phantasm budget was.
How much was it?
And it was $3 million.
Jesus Christ. Well, I think it has to be that location is how they made this look better, is that one location
Gotta
did
be,
a
right?
lot of legwork for them. Yeah.
That one location is every mausoleum, of which there are 4 in this movie.
Yes.
But anyway, if you adjust for inflation, that's like $5.3 million. But that's all the box office information I have, because it didn't really get a theatrical release domestically, and movies from that long ago, it's hard to find how much they made in the international market.
Yeah.
So I was not able to find. I did find some from what I will call unreliable sources that it made $1.5 million worldwide, which I would assume was that Japanese release, maybe even accounting for the festivals here, but it was very unreliable. It wasn't like confirmed. So who knows? But it probably didn't make a lot.
But it's still making money. It's on Peacock.
Is it really on Peacock?
Yeah, that's why I
It
watched
is.
it.
God damn it, I paid $3.99 to run it at Amazon.
And they just made $3.99 more than their distribution deal.
Son of a Reggie got me again.
I paid extra to watch on Amazon so I wouldn't have to watch commercials, but it's streaming with ads on like 20 different streaming services right now. It is widely available.
Peacock's got the whole franchise.
Yes.
It's hard not to watch this movie, guys. So do you want to hit him with that scary scale?
Yeah. Mikey, do you want to do the scary scale?
Sure. Are we still 1 to 4?
No, that's romancing the pod.
We've never been 1 to 4.
We've never been 1 to 4.
All right, listeners, our scary scale is a scale of 1 to 10 of how scary we found the film we watched it today. 1 example is Ghostbusters, and 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Paige.
Yes. This is a 1. This is not a scary movie.
At
It is
all.
a fun movie,
Yes.
and definitely watch all of them at once so you can basically watch the same movie like 4 times.
I love that. Todd.
It's a 1 for sure. Yeah.
Okay. I also will give it a 1. I was not scared, but I loved it. I was excited.
Yeah.
And that's our scary scale.
Well, this week you made us watch Phantasm 3. Paige, what are we watching next week as we continue sequel month?
Phantasm 4.
No.
Hey guys, future Todd breaking in here because when we recorded with Mikey, we actually didn't know what the listener request movie would be. So I'm breaking in to tell you the results of this month's listener request. And of course, the listener request theme was sequel month. So you all whittled down all of the choices to the following 4 finalists, and that was Blade Trinity, Hell House LLC 2, Orphan First Kill, and Scream 6. And in your infinite wisdom, and thank you so much for doing this, the listeners picked Blade Trinity. We've actually already recorded that episode because, guys, I'm actually recording this like the night before I leave to go get married. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. But anyway, had to record everything super in advance so that like Paige and I didn't have to work at all on her 5-year anniversary with Jake celebration vacation and my legit wedding to Natalie. You guys know Natalie. She's great. Anyway, the listeners picked Blade Trinity. It's a great episode. Please watch it for next week. You'll enjoy it. Guys, love you, mean it. We'll talk next week. Bye.
Hey, Todd, do you have a review for us?
Yeah, probably. Let me check and see if anyone's left a Spotify comment. They typically do.
Oh, you want me to read a review?
If you want to look for one, yeah, please.
Here we go. I remember how to do all of this.
So I'm going to read one that comes in off of our most recent episode, and that episode was freaky.
Freaky. Real freaking naughty.
I'm going to read this one from Jasmine Lex, though, and they say, do Assassination Nation in all caps, which I am happy to report we did. So yeah, just look in the back catalog, although I'm pretty sure Mikey and Paige sound differently on that episode.
Yes.
I hated Giggle Doctors.
That was Dr. Giggles. Also, a very different movie. Mikey, did you find a review you want to read?
I don't know if you've read it before.
Well, just do it anyway.
Who cares? It's fine.
Celia Mandard.
What does Celia Mandard have to say?
This show brings me so much joy.
Aw.
I think that's what it says. I really hope the hosts know they've made such an impact and bring so much laughter to their audience's lives. I love hearing their stories. I love knowing their thoughts on these different movies. But most of all, I always feel like I'm friends when I listen.
Aww.
It gives me the same feeling I get when I've been laughing so hard I start tearing up. Tearing. They're spelled the same. God dang it! I start tearing up after having a long, rough day that felt impossible to survive. They deserve the world. I'm glad they're here. 5 stars. That's a good review.
That's very kind. Thank you so much. And if you want to have me read your 5-star review or Spotify comment, leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify comment, and I'll do just that. So, guys, if you like this show but want to hear this power throuple on another movie review show about romance and romantic comedies, check out Romancing the Pod, where Mikey, Paige, and I break down and make fun of romantic movies. It's a lot of fun, guys. Check it out. If you want to follow us on social, please do. We are at Horror Virgin or online at horrorvirgin.com. If you want to follow us all individually, you can do that as well. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Twitter or Rampage Wesley everywhere else, including TikTok. Mikey is at mrandolph24 and I am at Todd J. Awesome. If you like the show so much and you want to help financially support it, please do by going to patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where you can get a lot of great levels and a lot of great stuff like bonus episodes, director's cut episodes where they're a little bit longer and you get them actually a day earlier than the regular feed drop. We do a lot of great things like listener requests and stuff like that. So guys, check out the Patreon and help support the show.
If you want to financially support me, but not Todd, just look me up on Venmo.
If you can't financially support the show, that's understandable. That's fine. But if you want to hang out with us on the daily, join the Facebook group at facebook.com/group/horrorvirgin. We also link it like once a week. So just find it there and join the awesome Facebook group. Literally, we're in there talking every day. It's awesome. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box. It's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want to check out our Twitch stream, we're at twitch.tv/ToddAwesome, where we will be playing horror video games. So if you have always wondered what it would be like to watch me get scared, you can now do that on Twitch while I play these horror games. It's twitch.tv/ToddAwesome, guys. Check it out. It's a lot of fun for you. Not a lot of fun for me.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it ooky spooky.
Yeah.
Have an amazing week.
Yeah, Mikey. Bye. Love having you on, Mikey Nerds.